Chapter 207. A middle-aged warrior of the Cyan Phoenix race carried Lu Li and rushed towards the tribe like lightning. Another warrior had already gone to the tribe to report. The two warriors of the Cyan Phoenix race should be at the Fate Wheel realm. They were fast. In just an hour, Lu Li could see the tribe in the distance. The first person had returned early to report, and Yi Jia had actually brought 4 elders to personally welcome them. Yi Xiaoxi was in the crowd as well. Many civilians were looking at Lu Li with excitement and curiosity. "Welcome, Saint Lord." When Lu Li arrived, Yi Cha and several patriarchs bowed. The other civilians dropped to their knees and shouted, "Greetings, Saint Lord." Only Yi Xiaoxi pouted, bent down casually, and shouted with everyone else. There was no smile on Lu Li's face. He nodded coldly and said, "Get up, clan leader Yi and the patriarchs. Follow me to the meeting hall." Lu Li's expressions and attitude surprised everyone. Yi Xiaoxi was even more unhappy. If Lu Li were at the Eternal Realm or the Noble Lord Realm, it would be fine. But he was only at the Spirit Sea Realm, and he was putting on airs. Yi Cha and the others were not unhappy. They followed Lu Li to the meeting hall with respect. On their way, Yi Cha asked in a low voice, "Saint Lord, what is it?" Lu Li paid no attention to Yi Cha. He walked ahead with pride. It was as if he was a completely different person compared to the first time he came in. He was much more arrogant and domineering. Yi Cha and the other 4 looked at each other. Shock appeared in their eyes again, but they were still not too dissatisfied. They followed silently. In the meeting hall, Lu Li sat down at the seat of honor without saying anything. Without his permission, Yi Cha and the others did not dare to sit down either. They stood there with respect, waiting for Lu Li to speak. Silence, still silence. Lu Li drank the tea, served by the maid with pride. He looked down and said nothing, which puzzled Yi Cha and the others. After the time for one incense stick to burn, Lu Li looked at Yi Cha and said, "Clan leader Yi, I am in urgent need of Xian crystals. Can you give me some spiritual materials? I want to exchange them for mystic crystals." The expressions of the several patriarchs changed. Lu Li said nothing after he came in and asked for mystical materials directly. Why did he have such an attitude when he was in need of them? Yi Cha's expression didn't change. She nodded and said, "How many mystic crystals do you need, Saint Lord? I'll have someone get the spiritual materials for you." Lu Li said casually, 3 billion. SS. The 4 patriarchs gasped. Lu Li was demanding an exorbitant price. One heaven serpent fruit was worth 40 to 50 million. He wanted 60 to 70 heaven serpent fruits. Did he think that the Cyan Phoenix clan was his spiritual material warehouse? Yishi was a little hesitant, but after a moment, she said, "There's no problem with the spirit materials. I'm just worried that the Holy Lord will bring so many spirit materials to sell. Someone with ulterior motives will think about it and harm the Holy Lord instead. Holy Lord, can you tell this old man what happened? And how are you going to sell this batch of spirit materials? Why do you ask so many questions?" Lu Li waved his hand domineeringly and said, "I am asking you if you can give it to me. If you can't give it to me, I'll go out and find a way myself." The expressions of the 4 patriarchs changed completely. Lu Li was so arrogant. Did he really think he was the master and they were the slaves? Even if they were slaves, they shouldn't act like this when they needed their help, right? Yes. Yi Cha's eyes flickered for a moment before he shouted, "Old 4, go get 70 heaven serpent fruits for the sacred lord." Clan head. Patriarch 4 was a bit hesitant. Yi Cha said coldly, "What are you waiting for? Even if the sacred lord wants our lives, we cannot hesitate, let alone this. Do you understand?" "Yes." Patriarch 4 left in a hurry. After a while, he came back with an interspatial ring and handed it to Lu Li. Lu Li nodded and took over the ring. After he made sure that there were 70 heaven serpent fruits, he stood up and said, "Good. Okay, clan leader Yi, show me out." Yi Cha nodded and led Lu Li out of the meeting hall. Lu Li didn't look at the other 4 patriarchs and walked straight out. At the door, he looked back at the 4 and said, "You are not going to see me out?" "Yes." The 4 elders suppressed the anger in their hearts and followed Yi Jia outside. Yicha led Luli to the forest when they were out of the tribe. Along the way, Luli said nothing, and so did Yicha and the others. Yicha stopped when they were near the teleportation inhibition formation in the forest. Luli stood on the stone of the teleportation inhibition formation. He glanced over to the four patriarchs who looked gloomy and said coldly, "You four seem to be upset. I just took something from you, and you are giving me such a hard time?" Swish, 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 the four's expressions changed again. There was anger in their eyes. Yicha threw them a cold glance and scolded, "Kneel. Apologize to the Saint Lord." Looking into Yicha's cold eyes, the four knelt down, clenched their teeth, and shouted to Luli, "Saint Lord, please forgive us." Luli sneered and said, "You must remember that I am your Saint Lord. Whether or not your two races can go back to your ancestral lands and restore the glory of the past, it all depends on me. You cannot hesitate even if I want you to die, let alone take something from you. Do you understand?" The four lowered their heads, bit their teeth, and said in grief and indignation, "Yes." "Very good." Luli nodded and said to Yicha, "Activate the teleportation inhibition formation. Saint Lord, take care." Yicha nodded and poured out Xian energy. The teleportation formation glowed, and Luli vanished from the small world. "You're going too far. You're going too far." As soon as Luli left, the four patriarchs stood up. Patriarch 4 looked at Yicha in rage and said, "Family patriarch, this punk has gone too far. Are you sure that a saint lord like this can lead us back to our ancestral lands?" "Family patriarch." The other three patriarchs looked at Yicha as well. Yicha said after a moment of silence, "I have said it before. His surname is Lu, and he has the animal tooth pendant and the silver dragon bloodline. He is our saint lord. You cannot doubt him. But he did act strangely this time. I don't think he is like this." "He isn't?" Patriarch 4 said angrily. "Is it someone else who made us kneel? He has taken billions of Xian crystals worth of mystical materials, and he is still so arrogant. He doesn't treat us as human beings. We don't need a saint lord like this." "Stop it," Yishi shouted angrily. "No matter what, he's still our holy lord. For the future of our two races, I will die for him, let alone suffer some grievances." The four patriarchs said nothing. Angry as they were, they said nothing. When Yicha was about to bring the four back, the teleportation formation suddenly lit up again. After a while, a smiling young man appeared in the teleportation formation. Who else could it be but Luli? The five patriarchs looked at Luli's friendly smile as if they didn't know him. Luli was a completely different person now. Luli walked out of the teleportation formation, cupped his fists, bowed, and said, "Patriarchs, I have offended you. Please forgive me." Yicha didn't understand what Luli was doing. He asked, "Saint Lord, what are you?" Luli grinned and said, "Nothing. I was just joking with you. Here are the heaven serpent fruits. Here's some gifts." Luli gave the interspatial ring with 70 heaven serpent fruits to Yicha. Then he took out 6 jade boxes and said, "These should be very helpful to you." Yicha opened the jade boxes with doubt. A fragrance spread out, which refreshed the 5 patriarchs. Chapter 208. What? The 4 elders were startled, and they all gathered around. They swept a glance at the golden-colored pocket-sized spiritual material inside, and their eyes immediately emitted a brilliant light, as if 4 old bachelors had seen a naked beauty. The 5 of them had been at the peak of the imperishable realm for many years, but they had never been able to break through. They could not go out and see the outside world because they did not have the rising dragon grass and the other 2 spirit materials. Not only them, but many of their elders also died of old age inside. Nobody could reach the noble lord realm because they could not get out, and the small world did not have those mystical materials. But today, they saw a living, rising dragon grass in front of them. With this, Yicha was 60% sure that he could reach the noble lord realm. If he could find the remaining 2 spirit materials, his chances of breaking through would increase to 90%. That's right, it's rising dragon grass. There's a total of 6 stalks, and I'll give them all to you. Luli said with a smile, as if what he was giving away was not rare mystical materials worth 5 or 6 billion Xian crystals, but several body refinement pellets. Hiss, hiss, the 5 of them sucked in a cold breath. Yicha hurriedly opened the rest of the jade boxes as fast as she could. After seeing that they were all the same rising dragon grass, the 5 of them trembled with excitement. Luli just borrowed 3 billion Xian crystals worth of mystical materials from them. Now, in the blink of an eye, he came back. Not only did he return the mystical materials to them, but he also gave them 5 or 6 billion rising dragon grasses. The billions of Xian crystals were secondary. The most important thing was that this thing was priceless. Last time, Yicha didn't let Luli bring the mystical materials to trade for the rising dragon grass. For one thing, Luli was too weak, and Yicha was afraid of harming him. Secondly, Yicha knew very well that in a small place like the northern desert, a rising dragon grass might not appear in 100 years. It was impossible to buy it in the northern desert. Yicha wanted to wait until Luli was powerful enough to be at least at the peak of the Fate Wheel realm or the Eternal realm before he could go to the Cyan Plains or Central Plains to trade for rising dragon grass. Little did she expect that Luli would come back with 6 rising dragon grasses in such a short time. It was not hard to imagine how the 5 were feeling. With the 6 rising dragon grasses, at least 2 of them could reach the Noble Lord realm. If they could obtain the other 2 spirit materials, perhaps all 5 of them would be able to break through. Whoosh, whoosh, Yicha let out a long sigh and quickly closed the jade box. Then, he knelt down on one knee. The other 4 elders also knelt down heavily. Yicha said in a choked voice, "The Cyan Phoenix clan will never forget the kindness of the Holy Lord. The Cyan Phoenix clan will worship you as the Holy Lord for generations to come." The smile on Lu Li's face froze. Yicha's words were too harsh. Cyan Wan could easily take out a few billion Xian crystals. Just because he gave 6 rising dragon grass, Yishi made such an oath? What Luli didn't understand was that Yicha didn't value the rising dragon grass, but Luli himself. At this moment, Yicha and the 4 patriarchs fully acknowledged Luli as their holy lord. At his realm, Luli didn't have much wealth, but he didn't even bat an eyelid to give away 5 or 6 billion Xian crystals. This made Yicha and the others feel that Luli was more broad-minded than others. How could a man like him have a low achievement in the future? Coupled with the words on the steel, how could Yi Jie not die for him? Yicha and the 4 patriarchs had figured out Luli's previous behavior. Clearly, Luli was testing them. If Yicha didn't give Luli 3 billion Xian crystals worth of mystical materials, and if the 4 patriarchs didn't kneel, Luli wouldn't trust them, and he wouldn't give away the rising dragon grass so easily. Not only did they not blame Luli, but they also thought Luli did the right thing. Luli would be an idiot if he gave away the rising dragon grass without testing him. Such a stupid man didn't deserve their loyalty. Get up, get up. We're on the same side. No need to be so courteous. Luli helped Yicha and the other 4 stand up. He did come in to test them. Yicha and the others passed. Luli trusted them completely and treated them as his own people. Yicha and the others stood up. Yicha put the 6 jade boxes into his interspatial ring without hesitation. Then he asked, "Saint Lord, how did you get the rising dragon grass?" "Tomb of Dragon King." Luli didn't hide anything. He said bluntly, "I went to the Tomb of Dragon King a while ago, and by chance I got an interspatial ring. There are some mystical materials in it. I thought you needed the rising dragon grass, so I gave it to you." No wonder. Yicha and the others had heard of Dragon King. He was a powerful warrior of the human sovereign realm that unified the northern desert 10,000 years ago. It was understandable that there were so many rare, mystical materials in the Tomb of Dragon King. Luli paused for a bit and said, "Right, you said you need some mystical materials to reach the Noble Lord realm. What else do you need? Let me see if there are any." Since he trusted Yicha and the others, Luli would do his best to help them so that they could reach the Noble Lord realm and enter the small world at any time. By then, his safety would be guaranteed. More importantly, he could ask Yicha to take him to the Central Plains to find the Lu family and Lu Ling at the Siam Plains. Those rare mystical materials meant nothing to Lu Li right now, but they meant a lot to Yi Cha and the others. Yi Cha and the others regarded Lu Li as their saint lord. The more powerful his men were, the more powerful he would be. Naturally, Lu Li had to help them. What was more, as long as Lu Li could go back to the Lu family at the Central Plains, it would be easy for him to get the rising dragon grass. Lu Li's father was at the human sovereign realm, and the Lu family had the most powerful defensive bloodline at the Central Plains. Lu Li's father was at the human sovereign realm. What kind of resources did the Lu family have? Yi Cha thought about it and said, honestly, we still need ice phoenix leaves and silver sea urchins. That is all. Oh, Lu Li put on a bright smile and said, you are so lucky. I have some, but not many. I only have 2 ice phoenix leaves and 3 silver sea urchins. You can have them all. Lu Li's ring glowed. 2 blue leaves and 3 silver egg-like sea urchins appeared in his hand. He handed them to Yi Cha and said, you have everything. It is up to you whether you can reach the noble lord realm or not. Thank you, Saint Lord, thank you. Yi Cha trembled again. With the rising dragon grass, they already had a 60% chance. Now that Lu Li had given them the other 2 mystical materials, Yi Cha was confident that he could make the breakthrough. Lu Li smiled lightly and said, you are welcome. You are more powerful. From now on, nobody will dare to bully me at the Thousand Island Lake, right? Right. Lu Li suddenly asked with curiosity, how many of you can reach the noble lord realm with these? Yi Cha and the other 4 patriarchs looked at each other and said, 3, at least 3. If we are lucky, all 5 of us can make the breakthrough. Okay. Lu Li nodded in excitement. If all 5 of them could make the breakthrough, then this force would be enough for him to protect himself at the Thousand Island Lake. Unless the old man of Heaven Prison made a move in person, Lu Li wouldn't be afraid of any force. He wouldn't be afraid even if all the powerful warriors of the Yu family came out. It was said that only the family patriarch of the Yu family was at the noble lord realm. Even if he was at the middle stage or later stage of the noble lord realm, Yi Cha and the others could fight him. Then, how long will it take for you to make the breakthrough? Lu Li asked the last crucial question. He couldn't wait to go to the Central Plains to find the Lu family. Yi Cha thought about it and said with certainty, half a year at most. Okay. Lu Li put on a bright smile. Half a year was not a long time. The Bai family should be able to stall for time. Lu Li clenched his fists. He was so excited that he said to himself, Father, Mother, Sister, wait for me for another half a year. In half a year, I can leave the Thousand Island Lake for the Central Plains. I will see you soon. P.S. Last night, the old monster cried and told Lu Li that he must save the manuscript. He must save the manuscript. But today was the Dragon Boat Festival. Miserable, miserable, miserable. Okay, one more day. I wish you all good health and happiness during the Dragon Boat Festival. Chapter 209. Did someone bully you at the Thousand Island Lake? Yi Cha remembered what Lu Li just said. He asked, Young master, do you have enemies at the Thousand Island Lake? If it is really dangerous, you can hide here for half a year. After that, we can disguise ourselves and go out. We will help you kill all your enemies. It's okay. Lu Li waved his hand and said, My enemies don't dare to come into the Thousand Island Lake openly. Nobody at the Thousand Island Lake dares to touch me for now. I am living on the island outside, the inhibition formation. I can come in at any time if anything happens. That's good. Yi Cha nodded and said, Saint Lord, be careful. In half a year, we will send someone to follow you and keep you safe. That is not important. Lu Li's eyes were burning with passion. I need to go to the Central Plains as soon as possible. Take me there as soon as you make the breakthrough. If possible, take me to the Siam Plains as well. Central Plains? Yi Cha and the 4 patriarchs' expressions changed. Patriarch 4 shook his head and said, We cannot go to the Central Plains. We cannot go there. Why? Lu Li was surprised. He gave him billions of Xian crystals worth of mystical materials just so they could take him to the Central Plains. If he could not go there, Why would he give them the rising dragon grass? Saint Lord, I have told you before. Yicha sighed and said, the ancestral lands of our two races are at the Central Plains. 5,000 years ago, our two races were destroyed by the six families. The six families were the most powerful ones at the Central Plains. Think about it. Once we go to the Central Plains and we are found out by the six families, will we be able to live? Even all our people in this small world will be killed by the six families. So, Yicha solemnly said, it is okay for you to let us go out of the northern desert. The northern desert is located in the northernmost area. For the big families at the Central Plains, this is an uncivilized place. They look down on this place. Disciples and scouts of the big families will not come here. As long as we are careful and hide our identities, we will be fine. Once we leave the northern desert, the chances of us being found will be increased. The Central Plains is their world. Another elder added, Sacred Lord, when our two clans were at their strongest, we had 5 at the peak of the human sovereign realm, 16 at the human sovereign realm, and countless other cultivators. But under the alliance of the 6 great clans, our 2 clans were easily suppressed, and our experts and martial artists were all killed in a single night. Do you think we'll be able to withstand the consequences once the 6 great clans find out about this? 5 at the peak of the human sovereign realm and 16 at the human sovereign realm. Luli was dumbfounded. He felt as if he was in a whirlwind, and 1,000 curses ran through his mind. He knew that the 6 great clans were strong, but he didn't expect them to be this strong. 21 human sovereign realm experts were easily suppressed by the 6 families, and all of them were killed in one night. How many experts did the 6 great clans have in total? Unimaginable. There was not a single human sovereign realm warrior in the northern desert. The 6 big families combined had at least dozens of human sovereign realm warriors. On the other hand, he had to take the 2 races back to their ancestral land on his own. He had to fight against dozens of human sovereign realm warriors, hundreds of noble lord realm warriors, tens of thousands of eternal realm warriors, hundreds of thousands of fate wheel realm warriors, and millions of soul pond realm warriors. God damn it. Luli suddenly felt like he had been set up. Was this something a human being could do? Could his father, Lu Ren Wang, bring the 2 races back to their ancestral land, let alone him? Could he fight against so many powerful warriors of the 6 families? Saint Lord, don't overthink. Seeing Lu Li's expression, Yicha said with a smile, if the heaven augury spell is right, then you'll be able to bring us back. If not, then it'll be fate. We will not blame you. So, you just have to be calm and don't worry about anything else. Yicha's words eased the pressure on Lu Li's shoulders. That was right. As long as he tried his best, he wouldn't risk his life like a mantis trying to stop a chariot. Lu Li thought about it and said, then can you send me to the edge of the Central Plains? I can go in by myself. That is not a problem, Yicha said with certainty. As long as you don't go to the Central Plains, then you will be fine. Just keep a low profile. Okay. Finally, he got a piece of good news. The Central Plains was big, but the Lu family was powerful. As long as he could find the Lu family, he could go back to the Lu family easily. Then things would be easier. Okay. Luli didn't think it was necessary to stay now that the discussion was over. He said, go back and try to reach the noble lord realm. I will go now. When you make the breakthrough, come out and find me. I will come back here in half a year. Yicha and the others bowed and said, goodbye, Saint Lord. Luli teleported away in a blur. Yicha and the others didn't go back right away. They stared at the dimming white jade stone, lost in thought. After a while, Patriarch foresighed and said, Family Patriarch, are the rising dragon grasses really from the tomb of Dragon King? I think so. Yicha thought about it and said, if someone else gave it to him, he wouldn't need to test us. Saint Lord is a man of great fortune to be able to get such valuable treasures in the tomb of Dragon King. Don't overthink it. Go back and try to reach the noble lord realm. We'll be able to get out soon. Let's go. The 4 patriarchs were excited on the thought of leaving. They rushed back to the tribe and soon disappeared into the distance. Luli asked Hunchback Tion to take him back to the Dragon Elephant Mountain after he left. It was a cloudy night with a dim moon and few stars. Luli stood on the peak of the mountain, looking to the south. He stood there for half the night before he went to sleep. The next day, Luli went into closed-door cultivation as soon as he got up. He was ready to make an all-out effort to reach the Soul Pond realm and learn apparition skill. Patriarch 7 had already started work. He gathered the disciples of the Lu family to build a temporary residence on the Earth Dragon Island secretly. This palace was built in a large mountain near the volcano. The seventh elder was prepared to dig into the belly of the mountain and build a secret castle inside. This way, it would be harder to find. Hunchback Tian would go there from time to time and personally set up countless restrictions on the entire Earth Dragon Island. Even if a small bird flew into the Earth Dragon Island, it would immediately trigger the restriction and be detected. 15 days later, the temporary residence was completed. Luli had been cultivating for half a month, but he still hadn't mastered the apparition Xian skill. This made him doubt his own comprehension ability. After asking Hunchback Tian, he found out that it was normal. Some heaven-ranked Xian skills needed a few years to learn. Luli and Hunchback Tian secretly went to the Earth Dragon Island to check out the new temporary imperial residence. They were satisfied. The palace was built in the mountain next to the crater of the volcano. It was not magnificent inside, but it was elegant. There were many vents, enough for ventilation. Most importantly, it was well hidden. If it were not for Hunchback Tian leading the way, Luli wouldn't have found it. Luli moved in quietly with Hunchback Tian and Little White. Nobody was living on the Earth Dragon Island now. There were some small beasts on the island, and it was much bigger than the Dragon Elephant Mountain. Little White liked it very much. Inside the castle on the Dragon Elephant Mountain, Patriarch 7 sent someone to guard there all year round. He could crush the Jade Talisman as soon as anything unexpected happened, which could serve as an early warning. Luli continued his closed-door cultivation. However, this time, he only stayed for 4 days before Hunchback Tian came to report some news. Last night, several disciples of the Lu family that were left behind after the battle at the Wuling County entered the Thousand Island Lake and arrived at the Blood Evil Island. They brought news about the Wuling County and the Delong tribe. Lu-Yi asked Luli to go over. Delong tribe? Luli frowned. Even though he was born in the Delong tribe, he had no attachment to it. He never wanted to go back in his life. Therefore, he didn't care about the news about the Delong tribe. Chapter 210. Hunchback Tian brought Luli ashore from the other side of the Blood Evil Island and went to the Elephant Dragon Mountain before returning to the Blood Evil Fortress. In this way, people of the Blood Evil Island would think he was still living at the Elephant Dragon Mountain. Only the seventh elder and Lu-Yi knew that he had moved to the Earth Dragon Island Palace. This way, even if spies were to infiltrate the city to gather information or assassins were to attack, they would be able to warn them in advance. When he was near the Blood Evil Fortress, many people saluted Luli with respect. Their eyes were filled with admiration and fanaticism. Luli nodded to them one by one and walked into the Blood Evil Fortress. In the stone castle, Patriarch 7 and Lu-Yi were sitting inside. 3 young men of the Lu family were standing on the side. When Luli came in, the 3 of them were excited. A young man with oily hair and powdered face said kindly, "Luli, I am Lu Ming. Do you remember me? Impudent. Call me Island Lord." Patriarch 7 immediately stood up and scolded. Then he explained to Luli with a smile, "Island owner, this is an unfilial disciple of my branch. He got lost after the Wuling County battle. He just arrived at the Thousand Island Lake recently. Third brother Lu found him and brought him back." Lu Ming? The name was strange, but the greasy and powdered face was familiar. Judging from the way this young master acted, Luli could make some guesses. What do you mean lost? It was clearly this young master who was afraid of death and took advantage of the chaos to escape, preparing to go far away and find a small place to live the rest of his life incognito. Later on, when he heard that the Lu family was doing well at the Thousand Island Lake, he immediately came over to continue being the young master of the Lu family. Every family had these parasites, so Luli didn't hate them. He nodded and walked to the main seat and sat down. Although he looked to be a few years younger than Lu Ming, his aura was too strong, pressuring Lu Ming and the others to the point of suffocation. Lu Ming came to his senses and hurriedly smiled flatteringly. "Greetings, Island Master. Lu Ming is insensible. Please forgive me." Lu Li did not come here to listen to this nonsense. He asked in a deep voice, "What happened to the De Long tribe?" As soon as Lu Yi and Patriarch 7 heard Lu Li's question, their expressions became unnatural. Lu Ming, on the other hand, began to boast, "The Wuling County is now occupied by a third-rank family, the Bu family. This family is an affiliated family of the Yu family, a running dog of the Yu family. In order to show off to the Yu family, they went around capturing the disciples of the Lu family who were left outside. I was almost killed several times. Luckily, I have some skills. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to see you now." Lu Li was annoyed. He said coldly, "Get to the point." Patriarch 7 quickly glared at Lu Ming. The latter thought for a moment and said, "The Bu clan killed everyone in the De Long tribe to please the Yu clan." A glint of coldness rose in Lu Li's eyes. He didn't care about the death of the others, but Lu Li and his sister were indebted to his 6th granduncle. Although the 6th great-uncle was already dying of old age and had been bedridden when he left the tribe, dying of old age and being killed were two completely different concepts. Bu family? Really? Very good, very good, Lu Li coldly shouted. At this moment, all the warriors of the Bu family were dead to him. He planned to send Yi Cha and the others to kill all the warriors of the Bu family as soon as they came out. What Lu Ming said next almost made Lu Li lose his temper. The Bu family even hung all the bodies on the fence outside of the De Long tribe. There were nearly 1,000 of them, old and young, and their bodies were smelly. Now, nobody dares to get close to that place. This matter has caused a sensation in the Wuling County. What? Lu Li's expressions changed. The Bu family was so inhumane. They killed everyone, old and young, and hung their bodies on the fence? This could no longer be described as brutal. 6th great-uncle. Lu Li was enraged at the thought that the kind and amiable old man's body was still exposed in the wild. He wished he could sneak into the Wuling County and kill everyone in the Bu family. "No, I have to go to the De Long tribe," Lu Li said to himself while clenching his teeth. 6th great-uncle's body was probably still exposed in the wild. As a junior, Lu Li should at least go and bury him, even if he couldn't get revenge. Also, there's one more thing that I don't dare to say. Lu Ming suddenly opened his mouth, but stopped on second thought. A glint of coldness flickered in Lu Li's eyes, and he said, "What is it that you don't dare to say? Say it." Lu Ming looked towards Patriarch 7, who nodded helplessly. Lu Ming said while clenching his teeth, "Island owner, your grandpa's grave was dug up. That ancestral grave was dug up. His bones were scattered all over the place." Boom! Lu Li stood up with a slap on the chair in rage. The handle of the chair was torn into pieces. Evil intent surged out from Lu Li's body as he shouted, "You have gone too far. You have gone too far. Bu family, I will not stop until I destroy your entire family." If the fact that his 6th great-uncle's body was exposed in the wild had already ignited Lu Li's anger, then the fact that his grandpa's grave was dug up made Lu Li unable to calm down anymore. Go to the Wuling County. Go to the Wuling County. Lu Li's mind was filled with this idea. He could not calm down until he killed every last member of the Bu family. That was his own grandpa. Now, even in death, he could not rest in peace. He was dug up and his bones were scattered everywhere. If he did not go to the Wuling County to seek revenge, how could he face his mother in the future? Seal off the island. Nobody except for the patriarchs can go out until I come back. Lu Li ordered at once. Then he looked at Hunchback Tian and shouted, "Hunchback Tian, go." Hunchback Tian was Lu Li's slave. Even though he was unwilling, he dared not to disobey Lu Li. He got up and walked over. Lu Yi and Patriarch 7, on the other hand, were frightened. Patriarch 7 quickly stopped Lu Li and said, "Island owner, don't be impulsive. This can be discussed at length." Lu Li calmed down. Lu Yi rushed over and stopped Lu Li. She said, "If you leave the Thousand Island Lake and the Yu family finds out, the consequences will be unimaginable. F***CK off. Luli glared at Lu E and coldly shouted, "It is not your family that was dug up. Of course, you will say so. Even in death, my grandpa cannot rest in peace. If I don't get revenge, am I still human?" Louie looked at Lu Li's red eyes and ferocious face. She was so scared that she stepped back. Lu Li swaggered away with Hunchback Tion and disappeared from the blood-evil fortress. By the time Lu E and Patriarch 7 came out, Lu Li and Hunchback Tion had already disappeared into the distance. Hunchback Tion was so fast that nobody could catch up with him. Something bad is going to happen. Lu E and Patriarch 7 looked at each other. They regretted telling Lu Li about this. However, they were afraid that Lu Li would blame them when he found out about this and that he would leave the Lu family behind. The two were burning with anxiety. Lu Li rushing out of the Thousand Island Lake in such a reckless way might be discovered by the Yu family. Once he was discovered, the Yu family would send out warriors of the Eternal Realm to hunt him down. By then, Lu Li would die for sure. Grandpa 7, what should we do? Lu E looked at Patriarch 7. Patriarch 7 forced himself to calm down. He thought about it and said, "There is only one way. We go to the Heaven Prison Island at once and find Madame Yin." Right? Lu Yi's eyes lit up. If the Bai family could help, Lu Li would be much safer. At the very least, they could stop Lu Li. Brother 9. Patriarch 7 ordered, "Take the green dwarfs with you and guard the blood-evil island in person. Nobody is allowed to go in and nobody is allowed to leave. Kill anyone who dares to leave the island." The information could not be leaked. Otherwise, as soon as Lu Li left the Thousand Island Lake, the assassins of the Yu family would come. Chapter 211. Patriarch 7 and Lu E took a battleship to the Goddown Island and then teleported to the Heaven Prison City. They found Chief Steward Bai in a hurry, but Madame Yin was not at the Heaven Prison Chamber of Commerce. She was at the Bai Emperor Mountain. The two specifically asked for Madame Yin. Their status was not high enough to meet Madame Yin. Chief Steward Bai was scared after they told him what happened. He immediately brought the two to the Bai Emperor Mountain to see Madame Yin. Madame Yin was sitting in the pavilion. She didn't say anything after hearing the two's narration. Her pretty eyebrows were knitted together. Lu E and Patriarch 7 didn't dare to say anything. They had to wait on the side. After a while, Madame Yin finally said, "Bai Ding, send a message to Su Chun. Ask him to send someone after Lu Li and see if he can catch up with him. If he can catch up with Lu Li, stop him and tell him to come and see me." A figure appeared in the corner, nodded, and disappeared in a flash. Madame Yin looked at Lu E and Patriarch 7 and said, "Go back now. Lu Li is determined to court death. There is nothing I can do. I can only do my best and leave it to fate. The Blood-Evil Island is so close to the Heaven Martial Kingdom. Hunchback Tion is fast. Even if I go in person, it will be too late. It all depends on his luck." Patriarch 7 and Lu E saw Madame Yin's indifferent expression. They felt something was wrong. It seemed Madame Yin was unhappy with Lu Li again. She didn't even send anyone from the Bai family. She only sent a message to Su Chun. Could they catch up with Lu Li? The two dared not to say more. They left after expressing their gratitude with respect. Chief Steward Bai asked a maid to teleport the two down the Bai Emperor Mountain. "Madam," after the two left, Chief Steward Bai asked anxiously, "You don't care about Lu Li anymore? Why not?" Madame Yin looked at him lightly and said, "Didn't I ask Bai Ding to send a message to Su Chun? Do you want me to go after him in person?" Chief Steward Bai touched his long beard in embarrassment. He knew very well that if Madame Yin really wanted to get Lu Li back, she would have the ability. As long as she went to the Hall Master of the Scout Hall and mobilized all the scouts at the northeast side of the Bai family, there was a high chance that they could find Lu Li. Instead, she asked Su Chun to find someone to go after Jiang Yi. If she relied on the Su clan, the chances of catching up to Jiang Yi would be much lower. Seeing Madame Yin sitting there calmly, Chief Steward Bai suddenly realized something. It seemed that Madame Yin didn't think Lu Li would join the Bai family, so she didn't care about Lu Li's life or death. It had been more than half a month since Lu Li came back from the Bai Emperor Mountain. If he wanted to join the Bai family, he would have come to the Bai Emperor Mountain earlier. If the Bai family, the overlord of the Thousand Island Lake, wanted to recruit someone apart from disciples of the immediate family of the fourth-rank forces, the others would join without any hesitation. Many warriors were begging on their knees to join the Bai family, but Lu Li had to think about it for such a long time. The Bai family was the king of the Thousand Island Lake. Warriors of the Bai family had to be polite to any force. The Bai family had endless resources, the best environment for cultivation, and the best Xian skills. The Bai family was one of the most powerful families of the northern desert, not to mention the Thousand Island Lake. Therefore, Lu Li's excuse of thinking about it was clearly an excuse. He had never thought about joining the Bai family. Madame Yin naturally became less concerned about a genius that she could not make use of. It was even more unlikely that she would use the scout hall for him. She had already done her best to send a message to Su Chun. Having figured out, Chief Steward Bai bowed and left. Madame Yin didn't even look at him. After Chief Steward Bai left, Madame Yin picked up a goblet and shook it. She looked to the north and said, Lu Li, you don't want to join the Bai family, and you have the guts to leave the Thousand Island Lake. I would like to see if you can survive this. Grandpa 7, what should we do? Lu Yi and Patriarch 7 were led off the teleportation formation by maids. They ran towards the Heaven Prison City quickly. On the way, Lu Yi said in a hurry, Madame Yin doesn't seem to want to help. Patriarch 7's expression was gloomy. He sighed and said, what can we do? The only force of the Thousand Island Lake that can fight against the Yu family is the Bai family. If Madame Yin doesn't do anything, then not even a god can help Lu Li. We can only hope that he will not be discovered by the Yu family. Alas, Lu Yi's eyes dimmed down. She wondered what the Lu family would do if Lu Li died. At least, without the animal tooth pendant, it would be difficult for the Lu family to grow high-quality netherworld roots, fire fairy lucid Ganoderma, and blood caterpillar grasses. It seemed that Lu Li had offended many people. Once Lu Li was gone, would those people seek revenge on the Lu family? Based on the fighting capacity of the Lu family, they would be annihilated in an instant. While they were lost in their thoughts, they had arrived at the gate of the Heaven Prison City. As soon as they stepped into the city, a carriage happened to be rushing towards them. The carriage was luxurious. There were 2 horses in front of it. Patriarch 7 and Lu Yi were distracted and almost crashed into the carriage. Swish! Fortunately, Patriarch 7 managed to react in time and pulled Lu Yi to the side. Lu Yi looked at the carriage with anger. What kind of people were they? They were leaving the city so fast. Were they trying to kill someone? Hiss, hiss, the carriage suddenly stopped. The curtain of the window was opened, revealing a face as delicate as porcelain. She stared at Lu Yi and said with confusion, You don't work for Lu Li? How come you are here? By Xiaoshuang. Lu Yi took a look and the anger in her eyes disappeared. But on second thought, she was the only one who dared to ride like this in the Heaven Prison City. Shuanga, what is going on? A soft voice came. Bai Qiuxue was in the carriage as well. Patriarch 7 and Lu Yi looked at each other. Their eyes lit up. They heard that Lu Li saved the twins' lives in the tomb of Dragon King. Could he ask the 2 of them for help? Patriarch 7 was shrewd. He looked at the escorts outside the city, cupped his fists, and said, Greetings, Lady Xiaoshuang and Qiuxue. We are here to deliver a message from our island owner. But it is not convenient here. Bai Xiaoshuang's face disappeared from the carriage. Another beautiful face appeared. She looked at Lu Yi and said, Then let this lady get in the carriage and talk. Lu Yi was overjoyed. She got on the carriage. Bai Xiaoshuang even asked the coachman to turn around and walk towards the city gate. Patriarch 7 followed her all the way. Plop! As soon as she got in the carriage, Lu Yi knelt to Bai Xiaoshuang and Bai Qiuxue. She begged and said, Ladies, please save our island owner. If you don't help him, he will die for sure. The carriage was spacious. Bai Qiuxue and Bai Xiaoshuang were sitting on the bed with their legs crossed, drinking tea leisurely. Seeing Lu Yi like this, and hearing her words, their expressions changed. Bai Qiuxue said at once, Lady, don't worry. Luli is our friend. He will definitely help. Tell me the details first. Looking into Bai Qiushue's dark eyes and her sincere expression, Lu Yi felt she saw hope. She told him the whole story at once, including how she went to see Madame Yin and how Madame Yin asked Su Chen to come. Bai Qiushue said nothing after she finished. Bai Xiaoshuang was anxious. She said anxiously, Lu Li is such an idiot. How can he be so impulsive? Aunt, why don't you go and ask Uncle Five? Uncle Five can stop Lu Li if he uses the Hall of Scouts. Sis, how about we go and ask Uncle Five? It's no use. Bai Qiushue shook her head and sighed. Uncle Five is a stubborn man. There has been no news from Lu Li for more than 20 days. Many patriarchs of the family are not happy with him. Uncle Five will not do anything. Well, I don't think it will work this time. Not even our forefather. What's more, even if our scouts can find Lu Li, can they stop him? Lu Yi's heart was weighed down. It seemed that the two sisters could not help much. Given Lu Li's character, even if the scouts found him, they couldn't stop him. What Bai Qiushue said next made Lu Yi tremble. Bai Qiushue smiled gently, looked at Bai Xiaoshuang and said, We are the only ones who can help Lu Li now. Shuanger, do you dare to go to the Heaven Martial Kingdom with me? We will go and help Lu Li kill some people and make trouble for the Yu family. P.S. I have to go for a meeting on the 13th, so I will only write 3 chapters in a couple of days. Save some manuscripts in case I miss updates. I will be back on the 17th. By then, I will have 4 chapters for a week to make it up to you. Chapter 2:12. Bai Xiaoshuang was slightly shocked, but then she waved her hands excitedly and said, Of course I dare. Why wouldn't I dare? If Big Sister dares to go, I dare to go. Lu Li saved our lives. It's only right for us to help him. All right, let's go to the Goddown Island and then fly to the Heaven Martial Kingdom. Autumn Snow's eyes were filled with determination. Turning to Lu Yi, she said, Miss, do you dare to go? We need a guide to find the Wuling County. You dare. Lu Yi gritted her teeth and said. Autumn Snow didn't waste any more time and ordered the coachman to steer the carriage towards the center of the city. The 7th Elder followed them all the way. When they arrived at the plaza, Autumn Snow brought Bai Xiaoshuang and Lu Yi down from the carriage and immediately entered the teleportation array. Lu Yi asked the 7th Elder to follow them, and Autumn Snow ordered the teleportation array to start. Buzz! With a flash of white light, the 4 of them arrived at the Goddown City. As soon as Autumn Snow stepped out of the teleportation array, she immediately said, Leave the city, quickly. Bai Qiushue took Bai Xiaoshuang, who was as excited as a thief, and rushed all the way. Lu Yi and the 7th Patriarch followed closely behind. Buzz! Not long after they left the city, Autumn Snow looked at Bai Xiaoshuang and said, Shuanger, take out your war chariot. All right, Bai Xiaoshuang's ring lit up, and a small purple chariot appeared. It expanded with the wind and turned into a magnificent and mighty giant chariot, floating in the sky. Go! Autumn Snow grabbed Lu Yi and flew up into the sky. Bai Xiaoshuang followed closely behind. Light flashed from the war chariot, and it hurtled toward the northwest like a shooting star, quickly disappearing into the distance. The war chariot activated its barrier. Lu Yi stood in the war chariot and did not feel any discomfort. It was as if she was sitting in a large ship. She looked at Bai Qiushue and Bai Xiaoshuang in confusion and asked, Ladies, are we going to find Lu Li like this? Autumn Snow smiled faintly, but Bai Xiaoshuang rolled her eyes and said, If we don't go like this, how can we go? Was he going to take a boat? How can he catch up with Lu Li when the boat is so slow? No, that's not what I meant, Lu Yi said anxiously. What I mean is, you guys, aren't you going to bring some people with you? With just the 3 of us, I'm afraid we won't be able to find the island master. Lu Yi didn't dare to say anything, but her meaning was very clear. Bai Qiushue and Bai Xiaoshuang were talented. They were at the middle stage of the Soul Pond realm and had 7th rank bloodline. But this time, Lu Li might be spotted by the Yu family. Once he was spotted, powerful warriors of the Fate Wheel realm and the eternal realm would be dispatched. Not even Su Chun could do anything, let alone by Qiu Shue and by Xia Shuang. Hee. Bai Qiu Shue explained with a smile. I just said that the elders in our family are not happy with Lu Li. Nobody would be willing to help him even if we begged him. We sisters have very high status in the clan, but we do not have the authority to mobilize experts. Thus, only the three of us can go. Lu, he was dumbfounded. What could the three of them do there? Was he going to court death? No. The two sisters were the treasures of the old man of Heaven Prison. No one would dare to touch them, but she might not. Don't worry. Bai Qiushua looked at Lu Yi's changing expressions. She comforted her. As long as we go, the powerful warriors of our family will come, and Lu Li will be safe. Lu Yi was stunned. Then, her eyes lit up, and she quickly came to a realization. That was right. The two sisters were the treasures of the old man of Heaven Prison and the future of the Bai family. How could the Bai family not worry about the two sisters risking their lives alone? The powerful warriors of the Bai family would come after them immediately. Even the old man of Heaven Prison might take action. Thank you, ladies. Lu Yi knelt down again. Bai Qiushue waved her hand and said, You don't have to thank us. Lu Li saved our lives. This is nothing. What is more, the warriors of the Heaven Martial Kingdom won't dare to hurt us. What I'm worried about is that we might be intercepted by the powerful warriors of our family. Therefore, as soon as we leave the Thousand Island Lake, we must change our route. Bai Xiaoshuang's face was full of excitement, like a rebellious girl running away from home. She said carelessly, Sister, don't worry. My chariot is fast. By the time the family realizes, we will be out of the Thousand Island Lake. They cannot stop us. Yes. Lu Yi nodded in excitement. As long as the powerful warriors of the Bai family took action, Lu Li would be absolutely safe. Whoosh, on the Bai Emperor Mountain, a scout team leader ran like crazy. Soon, he arrived at the outdoor pavilion. He knelt to Madame Yin and said, Madam, I just got the news that Lady Qiushue and Lady Xiaoshuang have gone to the God-Down City. Then they took the chariot and flew towards the northwest. What? Madame Yin suddenly stood up. She shouted angrily. What is the specific situation? Tell me now. The scout reported, I don't know. It seems that the two young ladies came back from outside and ran into two warriors of the Lu family of the Blood Evil Island. I don't know what they talked about, but the two young ladies took them to the teleportation formation and went to the God-Down Island. Now, they are flying towards the northwest. Are the two girls crazy? Madame Yin was smart. She knew what Bai Qiushue and Bai Xiaoshuang were thinking and what they were going to do. She said angrily, Go and report to Patriarch 5 at once. Ask him to send scouts to stop them. If they find them, tell them that if they don't come back, they can forget about me as their aunt. Yes, the scout rushed away. Madame Yin circled around the attic for a bit. Still, she was worried. She left quickly and rushed towards a huge castle in the backyard. When she arrived at the castle, Madame Yin rushed in directly without bothering to report. In the main hall, there was an old man in a luxurious robe drinking tea. The appearance of this old man was quite special. His hair and beard were black, but his eyebrows were white, which looked out of place. Seeing Madame Yin rushing in such a hurry, the old man in a luxurious robe frowned and asked, Yin, what happened? Why are you in such a hurry? Madame Yin said bitterly, Uncle Shi, that idiot Lu Li has gone back to the Heaven Martial Kingdom to court death. When Qiushue and Xiaoshuang heard about it, they went after him on chariots. I think in 2 hours at most, they will be out of the Thousand Island Lake. The old man with white eyebrows, of course, was the second in command of the Bai family, Bai Shi. He put down the teacup in his hand and said angrily, Nonsense. Are the two girls out of control now? Madame Yin sighed and said, Lu Li's grandpa's ancestral grave was dug up. His sixth granduncle was killed, and his body is lying in the wild. This is clearly a vicious scheme of the Yu family to lure Lu Li out of the Thousand Island Lake. Lu Li is not in the mood to serve the Bai family. If he is dead, so be it. The problem is that the two girls have gone as well. I don't think the scouts can stop them. Brother Lung has disabled 2 patriarchs of the Yu family, and Yu Feijia died in the hands of that mysterious, powerful warrior. What if the Yu family secretly takes Shuang-er and Xiuxue? How dare they? Bai Shi's drooping white eyebrows suddenly stood up, like 2 unsheathed swords showing off their sharpness. Qi and energy rose from him like a dragon and an elephant. He said angrily, "If the Yu family dares to lay a finger on the 2 girls, I will level the Yu Emperor's city to the ground." Madame Yin thought about it and said, "Uncle Shi, should we inform our forefather?" "No." Chapter 2:13. 2,000 feet under the surface of the Thousand Island Lake. The 2 of them moved forward quickly, like 2 fishes. There was a 7-colored fate wheel under their feet. They were an old man with a hunchback and a young man in a green robe. Needless to say, they were Lu Li and Hunchback Tian. After Lu Li left the Blood Evil Island, he asked Hunchback Tian to go into the water. Walking in the water might be slower, but it was more stealthy and safer. The life wheel flew very fast, not slower than by Xiaoshuang's purple gold chariot. There was some resistance in the water, but it didn't affect it too much. There were still Xian beasts under the lake, but they were all low-level Xian beasts. When Hunchback Tian released his aura, they didn't dare to get close. Although Lu Li was a little impulsive this time, he wasn't completely irrational. He knew that the biggest danger of this trip was the Yu family. Therefore, he had to conceal himself. He could not let the Yu family find out his whereabouts. Of course, Lu Li also thought that this might be a trap set by the Yu family, but he still went ahead. There were many things in life that had to be done, even if it meant losing one's life. For example, collecting the remains of his grandfather and collecting the corpse of his 6th great-uncle. Lu Li would not be able to sit still for even a moment if he did not do these things. It would be more painful than death. From a young age, Lu Ling had taught him a lot about how to behave. Filial piety ranked first. Even though he had never seen his parents, Lu Li didn't blame them. Without his parents, there wouldn't be Lu Li. Without his grandpa, there wouldn't be his mother. They were his closest family. At this moment, the corpse was dug out from the grave and scattered in the wilderness. It was fine if he didn't know, but now that he knew, he would be the most unfilial person in the world if he didn't go. Lu Ling would never acknowledge him as her brother when she found out. If his mother was still alive, how could he face her? Lu Ling had always taught him that a man must be responsible, indomitable, and have principles and bottom lines. There were some things that one had to do even if they knew they would die. Only then would a real man be able to stand up to the heavens. Therefore, Lu Li never wavered. He said nothing along the way. He was thinking about how to get to the Wuling County quietly and how not to be detected by the scouts of the Yu family. If this was a conspiracy of the Yu family, how should he deal with it? Lu Ling told him that he could not give up even if he had to face certain death. The situation was not that bad yet. Naturally, Lu Li had to think about it and plan ahead to minimize the danger. No one wanted to die. He still had too many things to do. With the use of Xian energy, Lu Li could stay in the water for an hour. He only had to go up every hour to take a breath, not to mention Hunchback Tian. When he went up to breathe again, Lu Li looked at Hunchback Tian and said, "Do you have any good ideas to get to the Wuling County quietly, not being discovered by the Yu family?" Hunchback Tian had been thinking about this along the way. Since he could not disobey Lu Li's order, he naturally had to think about how to survive. He said with a solemn expression, "Take a detour. Take a long detour to the Wuling County. At the same time, I could disguise myself and use the bone shrinking technique to change my appearance. As for the master, he could find some dye to dye his hair and disguise himself. This would greatly increase the chances of him evading detection. Of course, the premise of all this is that this is not a conspiracy of the Yu family. Otherwise, no matter how hard we try, we will still fall into a trap. We will have to go to the Wuling County eventually. In, we'll do as you say. Let's go." Lu Li pretended not to hear the latter part of the conversation. But before he went into the water, he said, "If things go south and they send out warriors of the Eternal Realm, run." I will dissolve the mark in the jade talisman in an instant. Thank you, Master. Once the mark in the jade talisman was dissolved, the soul worm in Hunchback Tion's brain would die, and he would be free. Hunchback Tion felt relieved. In this way, his chance of survival would increase greatly. The Blood Evil Island was at the northwest of the Thousand Island Lake. It would take 2 days to get there by battleship. The speed of the warship was not fast, but the speed of the Fate Will was more than 10 times faster than the warship. Therefore, in just over 2 hours, Lu Li and Hunchback Tion went ashore. Crack, crack, crack. As soon as he went ashore, he scouted the area and confirmed that there was no one nearby. Hunchback Tion's bones cracked. Surprisingly, his back straightened, and he grew taller. The bones on his face bulged, and he looked like a different person. Bone shrinking technique? How magical! Can I learn it? This was an eye-opener for Lu Li. He looked at Hunchback Tion with passion. If he could learn this Xian skill, it would be fine even if they swaggered to the Wuling County. Yes, but I need time. Hunchback Tion forced a smile and said, "This is an ancient secret skill that I got from a relic. It took me 3 years to learn it. Master, you're so smart, but you will need at least 1 or 2 years." Never mind. Lu Li waved his hand in disappointment. Then he took out a black robe from his interspatial ring and put it on. Then he took out a piece of black cloth and covered his face and head, leaving only his eyes visible. He asked, "What should we do next? By Fate Will?" Hunchback Tion touched his nose speechlessly and said, "We will be discovered in less than half a day if we go with such great fanfare. We can only walk in the wild. We cannot get close to the city. I will take you with me." Okay. Hunchback Tion had reached the Fate Wheel realm. His soul was much stronger, and so was his perception. He could easily detect scouts of low ranks. It would be faster and safer for Hunchback Tion to take them with him. Hunchback Tion grabbed Lu Li and rushed forward in a blur. Soon, they disappeared into the vast mountains. An hour after Lu Li and Hunchback Tion left, a purple chariot whooshed by 30 miles to the east of where they went ashore. There were 3 young girls standing on the chariot. The beautiful one at the front shouted when she saw the land, "Sister, we are about to leave the Thousand Island Lake." Bai Qiuxiue smiled gently, but didn't say anything. She and her sisters grew up in the Thousand Island Lake and had never left this place. Bai Xiaoshuang was born to be active. This time, she sneaked out. Naturally, she felt excited and happy. On their way, they ran into 3 scouts of the Bai family. But as soon as the first 2 noticed them, the purple gold chariot flew away. The last one was smart enough to shout and tell the Madame Yan's words. Bai Qiuxiue pretended she didn't hear him. Lu Li felt there were some things that must be done. She was not inferior to men. She felt some favors must be repaid. If she didn't help Lu Li when he was in trouble, then she would not be Bai Qiuxiue. She knew that this trip would be dangerous. If the Yu family was driven to desperate measures, the consequences would be unimaginable. But compared to Lu Li, they would be much safer because they had the old man of Heaven Prison behind them. If the Yu family killed them, the Yu family would have to bear the risk of being exterminated. "Sister, should we activate the inhibition formation of stealth?" Bai Xiaoshuang's words pulled Bai Qiuxiue back from her thoughts. They were about to enter the Heaven Martial Kingdom, so Bai Xiaoshuang thought they must keep a low profile. Otherwise, they would be discovered immediately if they flew over with great fanfare. Sneaking around was the fun part. No. Chapter 214. Both Bai Xiaoshuang and Lu Yi were surprised. They could be killed by the Yu family if they were to show off like this. Also, how could they help Lu Li when they were flying in the open and their whereabouts were known by the Yu family? "Listen to me. You won't go wrong." Bai Qiuxiue smiled gently. Seeing that the 2 were looking at her, she explained, "What are we going to do this time?" "To help Lu Li." "What is Lu Li doing?" "He is going to get revenge and get back his grandpa's remains. So, we have to distract the Yu family for him so that he will be safer. Also, when we fly over with great fanfare, everyone in the Heaven Martial Kingdom will know. Soon, the news will spread across the northern desert. By then, the Yu family won't dare to touch us unless they want to be wiped out. Do you understand? Ah, sister, you are so smart. This is so fun. Bai Xiaoshuang understood at once. She was not stupid. Otherwise, she wouldn't have reached the middle stage of the Soul Pond realm in such a short time. Her realm was no weaker than Bai Qiushua's. She was just simple-minded and didn't like to think. Now that Bai Qiushua mentioned it, she understood. Lu Yi was not stupid either. She looked at Bai Qiushua with admiration and envy. She had the best looks, realm, and was born in a super family. She had such high intelligence. God really favored her. She had all the qualities in her. Bai Xiaoshuang was the kind of person who craved for the world to be in chaos. She controlled the chariot to fly lower and controlled the inhibition formation to emit a faint purple glare. In this way, the chariot could be seen from a long distance. After flying toward the northwest for a while, there was a small town on the front left. Bai Xiaoshuang deliberately flew the chariot towards the town. When they arrived, she even slowed down the chariot. The purple moon mark on her neck lit up as if she was afraid that she could not attract attention. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Below them was a county. Many warriors were alarmed and rushed out from their yards. Many people were stunned to see the two identical twin beauties. Many young people thought they were fairies descending from the heavens. They were all stunned. Bai Qiushue Bai Xiaoshuang. The county was right by the Thousand Island Lake. Many families knew the situation at the Thousand Island Lake very well. They guessed the identity of the twins at once. Many people were in an uproar. The two pearls of the Thousand Island Lake had come out in such a flagrant manner without any powerful warriors to protect them. Weren't they afraid that something might happen to them? What if there was someone who wasn't afraid of death and forcefully did that to the two sisters? Seeing the noise below, Bai Xiaoshuang rolled her big eyes a few times, and a sly smile appeared on her face. She suddenly stopped the chariot and shouted, "Who is the city lord of your prefecture city? Come out and talk." Lu Yi was slightly startled, while autumn snow smiled indifferently and did not stop Bai Xiaoshuang's nonsense. In a yard down below, an old man of the Soul Pond realm flew up to the stone fort. He bowed and said, "I am Li Lu. What can I do for you, lady?" Bai Xiaoshuang said casually, "We are going to Yu Emperor's City and the Heaven Martial City. Do you have a map of the Heaven Martial Kingdom? Give me one." Another round of noise was heard. The two pearls of the Thousand Island Lake were going to the Yu Emperor's City and the Heaven Martial Kingdom. Did they fancy a young master of the Yu family or the Z family? Was he going to spend it on Tianwu Kingdom? With a wave of Li Lu's hand, an elder below quickly rushed in, took out a map, and handed it over. Li Lu jumped up to midair and handed the map to Bai Xiaoshuang. Then he landed back down and said, "Ladies, do you need anything else? I will try my best to fulfill your request." "That is not necessary." Bai Xiaoshuang took a look at the map and waved her hand. The purple gold chariot whooshed away and soon disappeared into the horizon in the north. When the chariot was far away, Li Lu shouted, "Report this information at once." The chariot had gone far away, but the noise in the city was getting louder. Many young people felt like they were still in a dream. They might even see the twins in their sleep in the future. In a castle in Yu Emperor's City, a skinny old man's eyes were filled with anger after reading the report that had just been sent to him. Madame Yan's guess was right. This thing was indeed planned by the Yu family. It was all planned by this skinny old man, the think tank of the Yu family, Yulin, who was known as the Viper. As a matter of fact, not long after Lu Li left the Blood Evil Island, Yu Luan received the news. Lu Ming and the others were arranged by Yu Luan. As soon as Lu Li left, Lu Ming crushed his jade talisman. Yu Luan was informed that Lu Li had left. Everything was within Yu Luan's plan. He had a complete grasp of Lu Li's information. Based on the information, Yu Luan could judge Lu Li's character. He was sure that Lu Li would go to the De Long tribe after he knew that his grandpa's grave was dug up. As long as Lu Li left the Thousand Island Lake, things would be easy. Yu Luan had arranged many people outside the Thousand Island Lake. Along the way, he had made all kinds of arrangements. Yu Luan was sure that Lu Li would die this time. However, just now, something unexpected happened. Bai Xiaoshuang and Bai Qiushue had come out from the Thousand Island Lake. This is not a big deal. Scouts hiding in the Thousand Island Lake reported that many powerful warriors of the Bai family were here as well. What was worse was that the scouts of the Bai family could not find Lu Li's whereabouts. This made Yuluan feel tricky. It seemed that things were out of his control. Someone sent out a message. Yuluan shouted after some thoughts. A warrior of the Fate Wheel realm rushed in. Yuluan shouted, "Mobilize all the scouts of the family to look for Lu Li. We must find him as soon as possible. Remember to send a message as soon as you find him. Don't alert him." Whoosh! The warrior of the Fate Wheel realm left. Yuluan was still worried. He shouted again, "Send a message to all the families. Tell them to send more people to search. Tell them that if they find Lu Li, they will be rewarded with a county city and 50 million Xian crystals." Messages were sent out. In less than half a day, many families of the Heaven Martial Kingdom were boiling. The Yu family had a deep foundation in the Heaven Martial Kingdom. Many families were affiliated to the Yu family, and many others were on good terms with the Yu family. Now that the Yu family had given the order, these families naturally acted. Many scouts and warriors were crazy. If they could find Lu Li, they could become the master of a county city and get 50 million Xian crystals. Inevitably, the news spread out. The warriors of the families that didn't receive the order were also crazy. They would join the search even if they didn't get the order. If they were lucky enough to find Lu Li, they would be rich. For a moment, the entire Heaven Martial Kingdom was in an uproar. At least millions of warriors were on the move. They searched for Lu Li all over the mountains and plains, searching for anyone suspicious just to find Lu Li. Something very strange had happened. 3 days, 3 whole days. The millions of warriors searched for 3 days, but nothing came back. It was as if Lu Li didn't leave the Thousand Island Lake or enter the Heaven Martial Kingdom. No important information was sent back to the Yu family. Instead, many warriors went into the wild and were torn apart by Xian beasts while searching for Lu Li, by Qiuxiue and by Xiaoshuang Road on the Golden Chariot with great fanfare. They kept changing their routes. They would take turns here and there. Many scouts of the Yu family that were following them were trembling with fear. What Yulun worried about the most had happened. The scouts in the Thousand Island Lake got accurate information. Bai Shi left the Thousand Island Lake with Bai Lung and 10 warriors of the eternal realm of the Bai family. What was more, the whereabouts of Bai Shi and the others were unknown. P.S. It's almost 5 o'clock. I will update it now. Chapter 215. Inside a mountain, Hunchback Tian was running in a straight line with Lu Li. Apart from finding a cave to rest for a couple of hours every now and then, they had been on their way. Hunchback Tian went into the city once and bought some disguise items. He dyed Lu Li's hair brown and his skin dark. Somehow, there was a scar on the right side of his face and an eye patch over his left eye. He looked like a completely different person. Hunchback Tian was very careful on his way. He kept walking in the wild. If there was a mountain, he would choose the mountain and go to the place where there was no one. At the same time, he had been probing and sensing around. Once there was a scout, he would avoid it at once. The scouts and scouts were not powerful. Warriors at the peak of the Spirit Sea realm were the best. Few warriors of the Soul Pond realm would be sent out. Hunchback Tian was at the Fatewell realm, and he had reached the peak of the Soul Pond realm 100 years ago. How powerful was his soul power? How could regular scouts find him first? Of course, the two of them had some doubts these days. Even if Hunchback Tian had been searching, he couldn't have avoided all the scouts. Lu Li and Hunchback Tian were ready to take action at any time to kill the scouts that found them. However, it was quiet along the way, so quiet that the two of them felt uneasy. It was as if the Yu family was not involved at all. After another half a day, when it was getting dark, Lu Li finally felt uneasy. He thought about it and said to Hunchback Tian, "How about you go to the nearby cities and see what the situation is like?" "Okay." Hunchback Tian nodded after some thoughts. After he ate some food, he ran away in a blur. Lu Li hid in a cave to rest. Hunchback Tian had been carrying him along the way. He was not tired, but he was a bit uneasy. 6 hours later, Hunchback Tian came back. His eyes were full of exhaustion and astonishment. As soon as he came in, he said, "This is strange." "What is it?" Luli asked nervously. Hunchback Tion took a deep breath and said, "More than half of the families of the Heaven Martial Kingdom are looking for you. The Yu family has given the order. It is said that the Heaven Martial Kingdom has sent out millions of people. Also, Bai Qiuxue and Bai Xiaoshuang are here as well. They are flying towards the Yu Emperor's city with great fanfare. Also, it is said that the Bai family has sent out powerful warriors, and they have secretly sneaked into the Heaven Martial Kingdom." Hearing the first few sentences, Lu Li's eyes turned cold. The Yu family had gotten the news that he had entered the Heaven Martial Kingdom? Or was this a trap set up by the Yu family? The problem was, since so many people were looking for them, why didn't they encounter too many scouts in the past few days? They didn't even encounter a scout head-on. Did the experts of the Bai family sneak in? Could it be that the Bai clan had a strong warrior secretly following them and helping them clear out the scouts? Otherwise, how could Hunchback Tion avoid so many top-notch scouts? Bai Qiuxue and Bai Xiaoshuang were going to Yu Emperor's city with great fanfare. The beautiful face of Bai Qiuxue came to Lu Li's mind. He was touched. He had vaguely guessed part of the truth of the matter. At the very least, Autumn Snow was doing her best to help him. This woman was indeed worth it. She was even more loyal and heroic than a man. Lu Li asked some more questions. After some thoughts, he said, "Hunchback Tion, do you think this is normal?" Hunchback Tion knew what Lu Li was asking. He answered without thinking, "It is not normal. I also got some information. Recently, some Xian beasts appeared in the barren hills nearby. Many scouts and warriors were killed by the Xian beasts." "Master, Lu Li, did you see many Xian beasts on the way?" "What?" Lu Li's soul was moved. He shouted in surprise. "Can it be that the powerful warriors of the Bai family are following us secretly and helping us clear out the scouts?" Lu Li didn't see many Xian beasts on the way. Even if there were, they were of the first or second rank, not many. Scouts had strong survival abilities. How could they be killed by Xian beasts? There must be something wrong when something was out of the ordinary. Even if it wasn't the Bai family helping them, there must be some powerful warriors secretly helping them clear out the scouts. Otherwise, it wouldn't be so peaceful on the way. It should be the Bai family. Hunchback Tion thought about it and said, "Apart from the Bai family, no one else can do this. The Cyan Phoenix race cannot come out now. What was more, if the Cyan Phoenix race could come out, why would they need to be so secretive? They could just take you to the Yu family." Lu Li thought about it. Hunchback Tion was right. If Yi Cha and the others had come out, they would have come to see Lu Li a long time ago. Let's take a rest. Later, we will go at full speed. Lu Li didn't think too much about it. Bai Xiaoshuang and Bai Qiuxue were helping him, and the Bai family might be helping him secretly as well. This made Lu Li feel more confident. He could not let Bai Qiuxue down. He must get to the Wuling County as soon as possible, take away his grandpa's remains and his sixth granduncle's body, and then see if he could destroy the Bu family. Lu Li and Hunchback Tion rested for several hours and then hurried on their way again. It was peaceful on the way, and they didn't even see many scouts. This made the two of them feel reassured. They sped up and tried to get to the Wuling County as soon as possible. The Wuling County was quite far from the Thousand Island Lake. Previously, they used to ride on the chariot day and night, and it took them half a month to get there. Now that Hunchback Tion was carrying them, their speed was much faster. Even though they took a detour, it would only take them 6 or 7 days at most. They would arrive in 2 or 3 days. Still nothing? Another day passed by. Yu Luan could no longer sit still. He smashed a teacup on the ground in anger. He looked at the hall leader of the Hall of Scouts and shouted, "You have so many people in the Hall of Scouts. Are they all useless? I can tell you for sure that Lu Li is definitely at the Heaven Martial Kingdom now. Hunchback Tion is here as well. You have mobilized millions of people, and you still can't find them? One is at the Spirit Sea realm, and the other one is at the Fate Wheel realm. Can they fly in the sky or go underground?" Yu Kuan, the hall leader of the Hall of Scouts, stood there in embarrassment. All the top scouts of the Yu family had been sent out, but they still couldn't find Lu Li. This made him feel humiliated. He thought about it and suddenly walked forward. Standing by the wall, he pointed to a route and said, "Lordland, dozens of scouts of the family died here. Judging by the looks of the bodies, they were killed by Xian beasts. But one of them was killed by chance. Our family lost more than 40 scouts over there, and more than 100 warriors and scouts of other families died as well." "Oh!" A cold glare shot out from Yu Luan's tiny eyes. He said angrily, "Idiot, why didn't you report this earlier? Go and send the message now. I want the most detailed information. How many people died, what happened to them, and the exact location of the dead. Get all of it to me as soon as possible." "Yes." Yu Kuan hurried off and sent the message as fast as he could. In just 6 hours, all kinds of information were sent over through special channels. After the time it took for one incense stick to burn, Yu Luan slapped on the table and said with certainty, "Lu Li is here. His route must be to the Fengshan County, then the Tianfu County, and finally the Wuling County. Apart from Hunchback Tian, there are other powerful warriors with him. It must be the Bai family that is helping him hide the information and kill our scouts." It was not normal for so many scouts and warriors to die. Yu Luan, with his sharp eyes, could tell the problem at once. He thought about it and said, "You lead a team to look for Lu Li in person. I will ask 5 patriarchs of the Eternal Realm to be on standby nearby. Send a message when you find Lu Li. They will come at once." "Okay." Chapter 216. Not long after Yu Kuan left, a man with a body like that of a huge beast walked in. His tall and sturdy body made people feel depressed. "Family patriarch." Yu Luan quickly stood up and saluted Yu Huashan. Yu Huashan walked to the main seat and sat down. He said with an awful expression, "Bai Qiushue and Bai Qiushue have taken a detour and are now heading towards the Yu Emperor's city. As soon as they arrive, the powerful warriors of the Bai family will come as well. If we cannot handle this properly and we start a war with the Bai family, the consequences will be serious. The Z family has sent word that we cannot make a big move this time. Otherwise, the old freak of Heaven Prison will come, and we will be responsible for the consequences." "Z family, haha." Yu Luan sneered and said, "Z Shan Kue, that old bastard has lost his drive a long time ago. He is scared out of his wits by the old freak of Heaven Prison. The old freak of Heaven Prison does not have much time left in his life. His fighting abilities must be weakened. Does he dare to leave the Thousand Island Lake? That is not the way to put it." Yu Huashan waved his hand and said, "An old camel is still bigger than a horse. As long as the old freak of Heaven Prison is alive, the 3 royal families will not dare to make a move. Let's not talk about that now. What should we do? If Bai Qiushue and Bai Xiaoshuang come to the Yu Emperor's city and make a scene, the powerful warriors of the Bai family will take the chance to make a move. I'm not sure that I can defeat Bai Shi. You have sent so many patriarchs of the family out. We cannot handle Bai long. By then, even if we can kill Lu Li, we will lose several patriarchs. It is not worth it. The strength of the family will be undermined as well." "Family patriarch," Yu Luan said with confidence, "don't worry. Bai Qiushue and Bai Xiaoshuang are just covering for Lu Li. They will not do anything rash. Bai Shi and the others will not start a war with the Yu family on impulse. In that case, they will break the agreement first. The powerful warriors of the family cannot be sent back, or we will not be able to kill Lu Li. All our efforts will be in vain. We will become the laughingstock of the families of the northern desert. What if Bai Shi makes a move?" Yu Huashan asked back. His eyebrows were knitted together, and he was struggling. This time, Yu Luan had made a big plan and mobilized many powerful warriors of the Yu family. Right now, there were only 4 Eternal Realm warriors in Yu Emperor's city. If Bai Shi really attacked, the consequences would be unimaginable. If he was killed, the foundation of the Yu family would be destroyed, and the Yu family would quickly fall to the 4th rank. It didn't matter if he died, but he was afraid that he wouldn't be able to face the ancestors of the Yu family after he died. He was the leader of the Yu family, so he had to consider the whole picture and prioritize the interests of the family. Killing or not killing was secondary. If Lu Li could not be killed this time, he could do it next time. If something happened to the base camp of the Yu family, they would be doomed eternally. He thought for a while and made a decision. Yulun, I will only give you 2 days. If we cannot kill Lu Li in 2 days, we will have to bring back all the 8 warriors of the Eternal Realm. Do you understand? Within 3 days, Bai Xiaoshuang and Bai Qiushue would arrive at Yu Emperor City. Naturally, Bai Shi and the others would follow them. Yu Huashan had to be careful. Patriarch, Yulun was getting anxious. If the 8 warriors of the Eternal Realm left, then this plan would be wasted. The possibility of killing Lu Li would be greatly reduced. He had been scheming for a long time. Now that he had figured out Lu Li's whereabouts, he was unwilling to just give up like this. Say no more. This is an order. Yu Huashan stood up indifferently and walked out. At the door, he turned around and said, 2 days. Remember, I will bring back all the patriarchs of the Eternal Realm in 2 days. You only have 2 days. Yu Luan watched Yu Huashan leave. He thought about it and shouted, Someone sent a message to Yu Kuan. Tell him that Lu Li must be found in 1 day. Otherwise, he can forget about coming back. 2 days. Yu Luan stood up. He looked into the distance like a poisonous snake and said, We must find Lu Li. We must. In a huge mountain in the Fengshan County of the Heaven Martial Kingdom, Hunchback Tian was still running with Lu Li. Something is wrong. Hunchback Tian stopped after rushing out of a dense forest. He hid in some bushes. Lu Li was afraid to look up and asked, What is it? There are scouts up ahead, and there are quite a few of them. Hunchback Tian said in a low voice. Then he quietly stepped back and changed his route to move on. However, after more than 3 miles, he stopped again and helplessly said, There are some here as well. There are more scouts recently. Does the Yu family know that we are here? Lu Li took out the map and looked at it. He frowned and said, We should be here now. We are almost out of the Fengshan County. Further ahead is the Tianfu County. After that, we will reach the Wuling County. Just give us 1 more day. Hunchback Tian, find another way. We cannot expose our tracks now. Hunchback Tian nodded and changed his direction again. Finally, he found a way without too many scouts. Hunchback Tian moved forward carefully. However, the further they went, the more scouts there seemed to be. Hunchback Tian was suffering. He tried to move left and right, but his speed was much slower. He had to explore with all his might at all times. Otherwise, he would be discovered by the scouts. Neither of them dared to stop and take a rest. The scouts were wandering around all the time. They would be discovered easily. They were not far away from the Wuling County, at most a day's journey. However, Hunchback Tian and Lu Li had only covered several hundred miles after a day's journey. At this rate, it would take them a few more days to reach the Wuling County. Also, there were already so many scouts in the Fengshan County and the Tianfu County. What if the Wuling County was full of scouts? What could they do even if they reached the Wuling County? What if there were warriors of the Eternal Realm guarding the Dilong tribe and the Wuling County? Would they go to court death? Lu Li was confused. However, he was not willing to go back now that he had made it this far. Lu Li could not be at ease for even 1 second thinking about his grandpa's bones still scattered all over the place and his 6th granduncle's body exposed in the wild. Let's go. Lu Li made up his mind and asked Hunchback Tian to move on. No matter how difficult the journey would be, no matter if they could survive or not, no matter if the Dilong tribe and the Wuling County were hell or not, he must go. Hunchback Tian led Lu Li forward. This time, they were moving even slower. Sometimes they had to make several rounds in a mountain to avoid the scouts and keep moving forward. Hunchback Tian became more careful. The more scouts there were, the more powerful warriors of the Yu family were guarding nearby. There might even be powerful warriors of the Eternal Realm waiting in the nearby cities. Once their whereabouts were discovered, what awaited them would be the endless pursuit of the Eternal Realm warriors. 6 hours, 12 hours. When it was dark, Hunchback Tian suddenly stopped. Lu Li asked with curiosity, What is it? There are more scouts up ahead? Something is wrong. Something is wrong. Hunchback Tian touched his head in confusion and said, How come all the scouts are gone? Can it be someone is helping us distract the scouts? Or did the Yu family send the scouts away? I haven't seen one scout in the past hour. Ah. Luli blinked his eyes in confusion. After some thoughts, he asked, "Can it be the Bai family has distracted the scouts for us?" "It is possible." Hunchback Tion nodded and asked, "Master, do you think we should hurry on through the night or take a rest first?" Through the night. Now that someone was helping them, Luli would be an idiot if he didn't seize the chance. Anyways, they should go to the Wuling County and check it out first. At the same time, in a mountain to the east of Luli, an old man covered in black was running for his life with a man on his back. The old man had a strange appearance. He was a hunchback, just like Hunchback Tion. Also, he gave others the feeling that he was only at the Fate Wheel realm. He ran with the man on his back. There were scouts coming out one after another, but they were all killed by him in one move. He ran towards the east in a straight line like a ghost. Report to Patriarch Yukuin that Luli is found. Send a message to all the scouts nearby to gather here. Don't let Hunchback Tion and Luli get away. Hundreds of scouts were running after them. A deacon of the Soul Pond realm saw the bodies of the scouts on the way and shouted. Bang! A signal detonator flew up and blossomed in midair like a beautiful firework. Yu Kuan, who was more than 150 miles away, saw the signal detonator. He shouted, "Go and inform the 5 patriarchs that we have found Luli. Ask them to kill him." Chapter 217. A mysterious man appeared, disguised as Hunchback Tion. He carried a man on his back and ran towards the east. He killed many scouts of the Yu family along the way, which attracted the attention of the scouts nearby. Luli and Hunchback Tion were much more relaxed. Hunchback Tion carried Luli and ran through the night. In just one night, they got out of the Heaven Mansion County and entered the Wu Ling County. Yu Kuan mobilized all the scouts and 5 powerful warriors of the Eternal Realm nearby to hunt down Hunchback Tion and Luli. What shocked Yu Kuan and the others was that, after half a night, the mysterious man disappeared. That was right. He disappeared without a trace, right under the eyes of a group of scouts. 2 incense sticks time ago, there were scouts killed by him. After that, the scouts searched the area but still couldn't find Hunchback Tion and Hunchback Tion. When Yu Kuan and the 5 patriarchs of the Eternal Realm arrived and searched the area to no avail, some news came from 30 miles to the east. The man in black appeared, killed several scouts, and ran towards the east. Yu Kuan and the 5 powerful warriors of the Eternal Realm couldn't figure it out. Hunchback Tion was only at the initial stage of the Fate Wheel realm. How could he be so fast? How could he be more than 30 miles away? Could it be that Hunchback Tion had some kind of flying skill? But now that they had found Hunchback Tion, there was no reason not to go after him. Yu Kuan and the 5 powerful warriors of the Eternal Realm ran on at full speed. At the same time, they mobilized many scouts to surround that place. They also sent orders to nearby cities and tribes to mobilize warriors to block the way so that they wouldn't get lost again. After daybreak, something strange happened again, that Hunchback Tion and Luli disappeared again. There was no trace of them, as if they had vanished into thin air. They searched for a whole morning and still couldn't find them. At noon, the 5 warriors of the Eternal Realm and Yu Kuan received an order from Yu Huashan. All the warriors of the Eternal Realm were to go back to the Yu Emperor's city without any delay. 2 days had passed. Bai Qiushue and Bai Xiaoshuang were only more than 300 miles away from the Yu Emperor's city. They should arrive tonight or tomorrow. Yu Huashan didn't dare to take the risk. He had to summon all the warriors of the Eternal Realm back and ask for help from the Z family to make sure that the Yu Emperor's city would not be lost. Go back. Yu Kuan dared not to disobey Yu Huashan's order. He shouted in rage and made some arrangements. Then he rushed to a nearby city, ready to be teleported back to the Yu Emperor's city. As the leader of the Yu family scout hall, Yu Kuan felt very embarrassed. He had lost Hunchback Tion and Luli twice. After this incident, he would definitely lose his position as a hall master. He still couldn't figure out how Hunchback Tion, who was only at the Fate Wheel realm, could have such a miraculous Xian skill? How could he avoid the detection of so many top-notch scouts and escape so easily? This time, the Yu family gathered all the nearby families and warriors to participate in the search. The news inevitably spread, and the nearby cities and families were in an uproar. The Yu family, a fifth-rank family, sent out a master of the Hall of Scouts, 5 warriors of the Eternal Realm, and more than a dozen warriors of the Fate Wheel Realm. There were more than 1,000 top-level scouts. How could Hunchback Tian and Lu Li escape? It was the biggest joke in the world. While the families were mocking the Yu family, they were also curious about Hunchback Tian and Lu Li, especially since the news that Lu Li killed Yu Lingshu had been spread out, which made people pay more attention to this young man who once walked out of the Wuling County. Bai Qiushue and Bai Xiaoshuang were flying towards the Yu Emperor's city with great fanfare. Bai Shi and the others never showed up. This made the development of the matter confusing, which attracted more attention from the big families of the Heaven Martial Kingdom. The fake Hunchback Tian and Lu Li were missing. The real Hunchback Tian and Lu Li had arrived at the Wuling County and were hiding in a mountain 30 miles to the south of the Wuling County. With Hunchback Tian's speed, it would only take him less than an hour to cover the distance of 30 miles. Lu Li decided to have a good rest so that he could return to his peak state. Even though they had arrived, the real danger had just begun. Hunchback Tian was exhausted. Lu Li asked Little White to hide and guard nearby while he slept soundly in the cave with Hunchback Tian. They slept until the afternoon. When Hunchback Tian woke up, Lu Li didn't ask him to bring him to the D Long tribe rashly. Instead, Lu Li asked Hunchback Tian to go out and explore the situation around the Wuling County and the D Long tribe. Know yourself and your enemy, and you will never be defeated. Going to the D Long tribe rashly was no different from courting death. He must find out the situation before he could make the next step of his plan. Lu Li was deeply influenced by Lu Ling. He learned to use his brain in everything. He liked to think more, to make the best strategy, and to plan before taking action. Hunchback Tian had the shrink skill. As long as he didn't run into warriors of the Eternal Realm, no one could find his real body. Hunchback Tian was very careful as well. He didn't dare to enter the city rashly, so he just explored nearby. For hours later, Hunchback Tian came back. What he found made Lu Li's heart sink. Hunchback Tian didn't dare to go to the Wuling County, so he didn't know if there were warriors of the Eternal Realm hiding in the city. However, there were at least more than 100 scouts hiding around the city. The weakest among them was at the peak of the Spirit Sea Realm, and there were quite a number of warriors of the Soul Pond Realm. Only the Yu family could send out so many scouts. It was the same over at the D Long tribe. Hunchback Tian didn't dare to get closer. He only explored from afar and found more than 100 scouts. He also sensed a warrior of the Fate Wheel Realm hiding there. The Wuling County and the D Long tribe were like a pit, waiting for Lu Li to jump in. There were warriors of the Fate Wheel Realm. Lu Li and Hunchback Tian couldn't deal with them alone, not to mention the Eternal Realm. What should I do? What should I do? Lu Li sat in the cave and felt lost. Even Lu Ling wouldn't be able to do anything, let alone him. Strength, I'm still too weak. Lu Li felt helpless. He had some confidence in fighting against warriors of the Soul Pond Realm, but he would be killed instantly against warriors of the Fate Wheel Realm. Wait. Lu Li thought about it and decided that the only thing he could do was to wait for the warriors of the Bai family to get here. Since that mysterious warrior of the Bai family had been helping him along the way, he should help to the end. Let's go. We will hide near the D Long tribe and wait for a chance. Let's find a chance to take away my grandpa's remains and my 6th granduncle's body first. Lu Li ordered Hunchback Tian, bringing Little White along. Hunchback Tian led Lu Li out of the cave. It was almost dusk, and night was about to fall. There was a bit of heat in the air, making Lu Li feel suffocated. Squeak, squeak. Not long afterward, there came a strange noise from the forest in front of them. Following that, a group of small black shadows flashed and turned into many small ghosts rushing towards Lu Li. Piss off, Hunchback Tian shouted angrily. Strange chi and energy spread out from him. Those small ghosts immediately retreated in fear. Luli was surprised. He asked, "What kind of Xian beast is that? I can't even see it clearly." "Those are ghost bats, second-rank Xian beasts." Hunchback Tian casually explained and got ready to hurry on with Luli. "Wait." Luli suddenly shouted. He stood there for a while and said, "Let's go into the forest. I want to have a good look at those ghost bats." "What is there to see?" Hunchback Tian murmured, but he didn't dare to disobey. He rushed into the forest with Luli. Countless ghosts rushed out from the trees at once. They turned into streaks of residual shadows floating around. It was quite scary in the dark night. With Hunchback Tian here, the ghost bats couldn't even get close to them. They could kill a large number of them just by releasing their Xian energy. Luli stood there in silence without doing anything. He stared at the ghost bats with his eyebrows knitted together. The light in his eyes flickered. Nobody knew what he was thinking. "I get it. I finally get it." After a while, Luli put on a joyful expression. He said excitedly, "Apparition. The key is not the apparition, but the illusion. Ha, ha, ha. I have finally learned the core of the heaven-grade Xian skill. Hunchback Tian, wait for me. I will be able to cultivate this Xian skill soon." Hunchback Tian was astonished to see Luli sitting down with his legs crossed regardless of anything. He could learn the heaven-grade Xian skill just by looking at some ghost bats. Luli had been trying to learn this heaven-grade Xian skill for less than 2 months, right? His power of comprehension was so freaky. Chapter 2:18. After an hour, Luli opened his eyes. Xian energy glowed in his body as he dashed forward all of a sudden. What was amazing was that the number of his shadows kept increasing. 1 became 2, 3, 4. In the end, there were 10 shadows on the way. They were identical and very real. It was as if at this moment, Luli had learned the cloning skill and there were 11 Luli. But the shadows were strange. As Luli moved forward, the shadows behind him disappeared one by one, but more appeared in front of him. The shadows were so real that not even Hunchback Tian could tell them apart. This Xian skill is freaky. Of course, Hunchback Tian knew they were shadows. He exclaimed to himself how freaky the apparition skill was. Even among the Xian skills of the heaven realm, this was a powerful one. Whoosh! Luli suddenly changed his route and turned around. He circled around Hunchback Tian. This time, Hunchback Tian couldn't tell the real from the fake. Without psychic power, he could only see Luli everywhere. Hunchback Tian felt dizzy. When a warrior's speed reached a certain level, he could generate many phantoms. However, those were phantoms, not real. Luli's shadow, on the other hand, could pass off the fake as the real one. This was advantageous for warriors below the Fate Wheel realm. How could they hit Luli when they couldn't find the real one? Swish, Luli finally stood in front of Hunchback Tian. The shadows behind him gradually disappeared. He said with excitement, "This Xian skill is awesome." "Huh, huh, I have just learned it. If I can master it, I can generate more than 100 shadows." Hunchback Tian rolled his eyes. If Luli could generate more than 100 shadows, then the sky would be filled with shadows. Hunchback Tian was even more speechless when he remembered that Luli seemed to have another unique skill that could kill warriors of the Soul Pond realm with one roar. This master was freaky. Too bad I can't learn it. Otherwise, I might be able to fight against warriors of the middle stage of the Fate Wheel realm. Hunchback Tian sighed again. Luli didn't want to chat with him anymore. He waved his hand and said, let's go. Let's go to the White Crow Mountain near the D-Long tribe." Hunchback Tian nodded and moved forward with Luli in a low-key manner. It was quiet at night, which made it easier for them to be spotted by scouts. Once they were chased by several warriors of the Fate Wheel realm, they wouldn't be able to get away. The D-Long tribe was not far from here, only about 50 miles away. With Hunchback Tian's full speed, it would take him at most 1 hour to get there. They slowed down and arrived at the foot of White Raven Mountain an hour later. Luli was familiar with this mountain. He had been here many times since he was a kid. Luli had chosen to come here because he was very familiar with everything here. This mountain was about 5 kilometers away from the Long tribe. There were no scouts here, but there were scouts in the next few hills. Little White. When they arrived at the foot of the White Crow Mountain, Luli shouted and Little White came out. Luli said, "There should be many red-teeth rats in the mountain. Go and control them and wait for my orders." Squeak, squeak, Little White rushed into the mountain in a blur. Hunchback Tian frowned and looked at Luli as if he was looking at a retard. Letting a little pet control a Shin beast? If Luli was not retarded, then what was he? Up the mountain. Luli waved his hand. This time, he didn't need Hunchback Tian to lead him. He sneaked up the mountain quietly. Hunchback Tian followed him with suspicion and looked around. Inside the mountain, Luli was like a dragon returning to the sea. He was familiar with every path in the mountain, so he didn't have to choose one. He could move forward easily. Squeak, squeak. Not long afterwards, there came some strange noises in front of him. Hunchback Tian looked over coldly. His eyes popped out as if he had seen a ghost. In front of him, there was a torrent rushing over. Little White was in the vanguard, but behind it were countless rats. Every one of them was as big as a human head, with black fur and red teeth. "Master, this. Hunchback Tian pointed at Little White, but Luli didn't explain. He just glanced at Hunchback Tian and said, "Don't ask about things you shouldn't know." Luli walked towards Little White. Hunchback Tian looked at Luli in a different way again. His master was more mysterious than he had imagined. How could a random pet around him have such miraculous abilities? Even though the red-toothed rats were Shin beasts of the first rank, not everyone could control them. Maybe not even Shin beasts of the third or fourth rank could control them. Control the red-toothed rats to hide in every corner of the White Crow Mountain. If there are outsiders, attack at once. Luli and Little White gave their orders. Little White rushed towards a group of rats at once and kept making strange noises. The red-toothed rats spread out like birds and beasts, carrying out Little White's orders. Okay, Luli looked at Hunchback Tian and said, "I will hide in the mountain. You go out and scout the tribe. Come back and report to me as soon as you get any information." Hunchback Tian nodded. With a group of rats hiding around the White Crow Mountain, even if there were scouts, Luli would know to stay away as soon as possible. Hunchback Tian was not worried about his safety. Hunchback Tian left. Luli found a cave to hide in and waited quietly. The only thing he could count on now was the mysterious, powerful warrior of the Bai family following him. If this person were to make a move, things would be easier as long as he could distract the powerful warriors of the Yu family in the Long tribe. The Yu Emperor city was quite lively at the moment. It was said that Bai Qiushue and Bai Xiaoshuang were slowly flying towards the Yu Emperor city. This made many people of the Yu family nervous. Even though all the warriors of the eternal realm of the Yu family had come back, and 2 powerful warriors of the Z family had come as well, their opponent this time was the Bai family of the Thousand Island Lake. What if the old man of Heaven Prison sneaked here as well? In the Yu family compound, Yu Kuan was summoned by Yu Luan as soon as he returned to the Yu Emperor city. Yu Huashan, Yu Luan, and several other powerful warriors of the Yu family were all in the castle. Yu Kuan reported what happened with shame. Then he bowed, cupped his fists, and said, "Yu Kuan is useless. Please punish me, family patriarch. I have received orders from the family patriarch, and I dare not to come back. But I have mobilized dozens of warriors of the Fate Wheel realm from the nearby counties to join the search. Hunchback Tian has just reached the Fate Wheel realm. If he is found by our warriors, we should be able to kill him." "Idiot." Yu Huashan said nothing, but Yu Luan stood up angrily and said, "You are not useless. You are stupid, too stupid. This is an obvious trick of luring the tiger away from the mountain. How can you not see through it? The man you are after must be an imposter. The real Lu Li and Hunchback Tian must have arrived at the Wuling County by now. So be it if you are chasing after the wrong person." The more Yu Luan talked, the angrier he got. He pointed at Yu Kuan's nose and scolded, "You have mobilized more than half of the warriors of the Fate Wheel realm nearby. This old man's painstaking arrangements have been destroyed by you. Idiot, idiot." Yu Kuan was dumbfounded. He dared not to say anything even though he was being scolded. Yu Huashan frowned, but said nothing. Yu Luan walked around the hall for a while and asked coldly, "How many warriors of the Fate Wheel realm have you mobilized?" Not many. Yu Kuan thought about it and said, "I thought there were 10 warriors of the Fate Wheel realm, so I mobilized 5. Hunchback Tian has just reached the Fate Wheel realm. Yu Yang, who is in charge of the Wuling County, is at the peak of the Fate Wheel realm. I don't think there will be any problems." "You are not completely stupid." Yu Luan exhaled. There were still 5 warriors of the Fate Wheel realm left. Yu Yang, who was at the peak of the Fate Wheel realm, was still there. At least there was hope to kill Lu Li. Yu Luan would never forgive himself if he failed on the verge of success after he had made such a big plan and mobilized so many people and resources. If Yu Kuan mobilized all the warriors of the Fate Wheel realm, Yu Luan would smack Yu Kuan away in a fit of rage. P.S. This is the 4th chapter for today. It is here to explain to you. Many readers were cursing in the comments section after reading the first 2 chapters. "Look, the old freak has released 3 chapters this morning. 3, not 2. The title of the first chapter today was Lu Li is Here. The title of the second chapter was What If By She Makes a Move, and the title of the third chapter was Not Teleportation, but Phantasm. Don't look at the serial numbers. Look at the titles. There are some problems with the serial numbers. Go straight to the titles. Some people couldn't see the chapter Lu Li is Here. It was a technical problem that was being fixed. So, it was not the old freak's problem, but the technical problem. Chapter 219. Okay, enough. Let's deal with the Thousand Island Lake first. We will talk about Lu Li later. Yu Huashan had spoken. It was too late to send someone to the Wuling County. The Wuling County did not have a teleportation formation. It would be too late even if they teleported to a nearby region city. Bai Qiuxue and Bai Xiaoshuang were still flying toward the Yu Emperor city. Bai Shi and the others must be following them secretly. For Yu Huashan, this was the trickiest part. Yu Luan scornfully said, "Leader, don't worry. I guarantee with my life that Bai Shi won't dare to do anything. Besides, Miss Lian is already here. How will Bai Shi dare to act recklessly?" And Yu Huashan was relieved. Zilian was with Zi Huanyu and another patriarch of the Yu family. Unless Bai Shi wanted to break the alliance with the 3 royal families, he would not dare to act recklessly in Yu Emperor City. They sat in the hall and waited quietly. They were waiting for news from the Wuling County and for Bai Qiuxue to come to them. In the middle of the night, Bai Qiuxue and Bai Xiaoshuang suddenly stopped in a county outside of Yu Emperor City. He even swaggered into the inn as if preparing to spend the night there. Yu Huashan was even more nervous after he heard the news. He and the other patriarchs didn't dare to go to sleep. They'd been on guard. There were scouts everywhere in and around the city, guarding against sneak attacks from Bai Shi and the others. Yu Luan had left the castle. No one knew where he went. It seemed that he didn't want to see a flaw in his perfect plan, so he was trying to fix it. The Wuling County was quiet as well. Lu Li waited for an entire night, but nothing happened. It seemed that the mysterious expert who had followed them had already left, or perhaps he had no intention of helping them. Lu Li was having a headache. Clearly, there were powerful warriors of the Fate Wheel realm lurking in the Delong tribe. He couldn't just rush over and throw his life away. The longer this dragged on, the more danger he would be in. Waiting here was not a solution. Hunchback Tian hadn't come back yet. He didn't know if there was no news or if something had happened to him. Lurking in the cave, Lu Li felt the days dragged on like years. Every minute and every second was torture. Boom! At the darkest moment before dawn, a loud and muffled sound came from the east of the Delong tribe. The ground nearby trembled slightly. At this moment, Lu Li's whole body tensed up. He dashed into the cave like a sharp sword. Has that mysterious expert finally made his move? Lu Li looked to the west nervously, but he dared not to go down the mountain. He waited for Hunchback Tian with his eyes wide open. Whoosh! Not long afterwards, a man flew up from the foot of the mountain. Lu Li held his breath and looked around. He was relieved to make sure that the red teeth rats did not attack the man. It must be Hunchback Tion. As Luli expected, Hunchback Tion ran over and said to Luli with excitement, "Master, there's a fight going on in the west. The Fate Wheel Realm warriors here have been attracted over. The other powerful warriors in hiding should be going over as well. We can go to the D-Long tribe now. Go." The ring on Lu Li's hand glowed, and the mighty heaven halberd appeared. This halberd was thrown away by Euphrasia at the foot of the cliff of Purgatory. Later, the Bai family found it and returned it to him. Lu Li carried the halberd and rushed towards the D-Long tribe, like a ferocious tiger coming down from mountain. Since the Fate Wheel Realm warriors were lured away, there wouldn't be many powerful warriors left in the D-Long tribe. Hunchback Tion and Lu Li should be able to deal with them. Now that the mysterious man was helping them, Lu Li would be letting down the man's kindness if he didn't cherish such a good opportunity. Lu Li was very familiar with the terrain around the D-Long tribe. He went down the White Crow Mountain with Little White like a gust of wind and then rushed into another hill. Who is it? It was too dark to see clearly. There was a scout hiding in the hill. He was looking to the west nervously. Hearing the noise coming from the foot of the mountain, he shouted in a deep voice. Lu Li said nothing and rushed towards the man. In the time for just a few breaths, he had arrived. He swung his mighty heaven halberd and smashed at the scout. Courting death. The scout was at the later stage of the Spirit Sea realm, the top scout of the Yu family. Seeing that Lu Li had started the fight without saying anything, the scout took out his saber and charged at Lu Li. Buzzing, Lu Li's body glowed in white and many shadows appeared. He used the apparition Xian skill, and there were 7 or 8 shadows. The night was too dark and visibility was too low. The scouts on the other side thought they had seen ghosts when they saw the same black shadows. They frantically swung their swords and slashed wildly in fear. Bang! Lu Li found a chance and smashed at the back of the scout's head. The mighty heaven halberd smashed the scout's head into a rotten watermelon. Lu Li didn't even need to use his bloodline skill to deal with warriors of the Spirit Sea realm. Little White, go find a way and look for the scouts in hiding. Lu Li shouted to Little White and moved on. Soon, there came a muffled sound from a hill. Hunchback Tion had killed another scout in hiding. There were only 2 scouts in the hill. Hunchback Tion rushed over, pointed to the 2 hills in front of them, and said, "There is a scout in each hill over there. Master, shall we kill one each?" "No problem." Lu Li nodded and sneaked towards the hill on the left. Little White had already left the hill. It rushed into the hill on the left like a white blur. "Xian Beast? Get lost!" A shout came from a hill on the left. Lu Li was worried about Little White, so he sped up and sneaked over like a ghost. Swish! Little White ran back. Lu Li rushed over with his mighty heaven halberd in his hand. He made eye contact with a scout lurking in the bushes. "Who is it? Get lost!" The scout was surprised for a bit. Then he shouted coldly. Without saying anything, Lu Li used his apparition Xian skill and rushed over like phantoms. When the scout made his move, Lu Li quickly dashed to the left and circled around the scout. As a result, the scout was surrounded by phantoms. Bang! A fight of this level was not very interesting. The scout was scared by the phantoms and attacked randomly. Lu Li easily killed the scout with his halberd. Further ahead was the D-Long tribe. After Hunchback Tion came over, Lu Li didn't run towards the D-Long tribe. Instead, he ran towards the mountains in the east. His grandpa's grave was in a hill on the east. That hill was the burial place for the deceased of the D-Long tribe. "Master, I will go and find out if there are any powerful warriors in hiding." Hunchback Tion took the lead. Lu Li nodded and followed him slowly. There was a glimmer of dim light coming from the east. Dawn was about to break. The temperature was getting colder. However, Lu Li's expressions were colder than the temperature. When he arrived at the foot of the hill, he saw that the hillside was in a mess. The graves of the D-Long tribe were really destroyed. Bang, bang, from the hillside came a muffled sound of explosion. Hunchback Tion had started fighting with the enemies. Lu Li faintly saw more than a dozen people rushing out and attacking Hunchback Tion. No Fate Wheel Realm warriors? Luli was relieved to see that no Fate Wheel Realm warriors showed up. It seemed that all the lurking Fate Wheel Realm warriors were lured away by that mysterious, powerful warrior. Kill! Luli rushed up with red eyes and soon arrived at the battlefield. He saw the graves of the D-Long tribe clearly. The moment he saw the graves, his eyes turned red. All the graves had been dug up. Skeletons were scattered all over the place. The coffins were smashed and scattered everywhere. Many skeletons were even broken. Luli saw his grandpa's tombstone was smashed. The bones around the grave were broken. Clearly, someone had done it on purpose. Die. Chapter 220. Hunchback Tian didn't dare to disobey Lu Li's order or step back when he saw Lu Li rushing over in rage. Even though none of the warriors were at the Fate Wheel Realm, more than half of them were at the Soul Pond Realm. 2 of them were at the peak of the Soul Pond Realm. Hunchback Tian was afraid that Lu Li would be killed. Roar! After Lu Li rushed over, he shouted at the more than a dozen warriors without any hesitation. He released his dragon roar skill. At the same time, his muscles swelled up and his eyes turned silver. He released his burning blood skill. This roar was like the roar of a ferocious beast, shaking heaven and earth. Even Hunchback Tian felt his eardrums were hurting. The more than a dozen warriors in front of Lu Li were rolling on the ground with their heads in their hands. Apart from the 2 at the peak of the Soul Pond Realm, the others were bleeding from their mouths and noses. So powerful. Hunchback Tian nodded to himself. Then his expressions changed. Lu Li's roar and rage would alarm all the powerful warriors nearby. What if there were warriors of the Fate Wheel Realm or the Eternal Realm hiding? Hunchback Tian was a bit relieved to see Lu Li using his apparition skill to rush toward the 2 warriors at the peak of the Soul Pond Realm. He rushed toward the graveyard with a jute bag in his hand. He planned to help Lu Li collect all the bones first. In this way, Lu Li would feel more at ease when they ran away in case some powerful enemies came. Bang! Lu Li hacked at a warrior at the peak of the Soul Pond Realm. The warrior had come to his senses. However, he was dazzled by Lu Li's apparition skill. He didn't know that Lu Li's halberd was real. Before he could react, his head had been smashed by Lu Li. Bang, bang, bang. Lu Li swept his halberd to the side and killed 3 warriors of the Soul Pond Realm. Seeing another warrior at the peak of the Soul Pond Realm rushing over in rage and about to release Xian energy, Lu Li once again released his dragon roar. This roar was directed at the warrior at the peak of the Soul Pond Realm. The warrior screamed and fell to the ground. Lu Li hacked down with his mighty heaven halberd and killed another warrior. The 2 warriors at the peak of the Soul Pond Realm were smashed to death. Lu Li now had a general understanding of the power of the Dragon Roar skill. It could suppress warriors at the middle stage of the Soul Pond Realm. Warriors at the peak of the Soul Pond Realm would also be affected. Die, die, die. Lu Li swung his mighty heaven halberd again and again in rage. One by one, the warriors' heads were smashed, and they all became headless corpses. In the blink of an eye, more than a dozen people were all killed by Lu Li. Lu Li was not satisfied yet. He swung his mighty heaven halberd and smashed at the bodies one by one. He did not stop until all the bodies were dismembered. Master, stop chopping. Come and collect the bones. The enemy is coming soon. Hunchback Tian shouted anxiously. Lu Li came to his senses and flew over. His interspatial ring glowed as he collected all the bones. These skeletons were scattered all over the place, and it was impossible to tell who they belonged to. They could only bring them back and find a place to bury them. Whoosh! Some noises came from the D-Long tribe. Hunchback Tian looked over and said with relief, "Don't worry. There are no warriors of the Fate Wheel Realm. They're all at the Soul Pond Realm. I can deal with them. Go kill them all. Don't leave a single one alive." There were still some bones left. Hunchback Tian did not have an interspatial ring, so he could not collect them all. Lu Li waved his hand at Hunchback Tian and continued to collect the bones himself. All right. Hunchback Tian rushed over. He didn't release his fate wheel. He didn't have to use it to deal with a bunch of warriors of the Soul Pond Realm. Hunchback Tian carried a golden saber in his hand and rushed over like a gust of wind. His speed was much faster than that of warriors of the Soul Pond realm. Streaks of golden light flashed by, and heads flew up one after another. There was a clear distinction between the ranks of warriors of the Northern Desert. One realm higher could crush someone to death. Few warriors could kill enemies of a higher realm, unless you had a powerful bloodline skill or some high-level Shin skill. Not everyone was like Lu Li. Naturally, these warriors of the Soul Pond realm were no match for Hunchback Tian. Hunchback Tian had reached the peak of the Soul Pond realm 100 years ago. He had fought countless battles in his life and had rich experience. It was easy for him to deal with a bunch of warriors of the Soul Pond realm. Lu Li collected the bones quickly and also put away half of his grandpa's tombstone. By the time all the bones were collected, Hunchback Tian had killed more than half of the warriors. Charge! Lu Li rushed down the mountain like a ferocious tiger. It was getting bright now. Lu Li could see what was going on down there. He had taken off the blindfold on his face. There was no need to hide his identity now. His enemies could tell that he was Lu Li. Apparition. Lu Li generated many phantoms, one after another. It looked like there were 11 Lu Li coming at him. Several warriors of the Soul Pond realm in the distance immediately released their Shin energy, shooting out sword shadows and rays of sword light. Lu Li moved his body from side to side so that his own shadows could be seen everywhere. That way, the warriors of the Soul Pond realm in the distance could not target his real body. Boom, boom, boom. The Shin energy was released and landed on the hill. The tree was cut in half. Dirt and stones were flying around. Dust was rolling up. The hill was in a mess and full of desolation. Roar! Lu Li used his dragon roar skill. He roared, which caused the wind to blow up and the space to tremble. The more than a dozen warriors of the Soul Pond realm in front of him all felt pain in their souls. They held their heads and screamed, "Master, stop roaring!" Hunchback Tian rolled his eyes. The roar would attract more enemies. Soul Pond realm warriors were fine, but Fate Wheel realm warriors would be in trouble. Lu Li calmed down. He knew he had been too impulsive. He dragged his mighty heaven halberd and rushed over. He swung the mighty heaven halberd and smashed a warrior into a bloody mess. With a flash of his body, several shadows appeared. He swung his mighty heaven halberd randomly, and one warrior after another was smashed away. The fight was over immediately. All the warriors were killed. Hunchback Tian looked at Lu Li and said, "Master, shall we retreat? Let go the Long tribe. We don't need this bit of time." Lu Li clenched his teeth. The tribe was right in front of them, and he didn't bring back his sixth granduncle's body. How could he be satisfied? It would only take them the time for one incense stick to burn at most. This bit of time was not a problem. Hunchback Tian thought it made sense. If the powerful warriors of the Yu family were after them, they wouldn't be able to get far in the time for one incense stick to burn. He could only hope that the mysterious powerful warrior could stall them for a little longer. Hunchback Tian brought Lu Li and rushed towards the Long tribe. They ran into several scouts on the way, but Hunchback Tian shot out some Shin energy and killed them. After the time for half an incense stick to burn, the two arrived at the tribe. Before they got closer, they could smell the stench of corpses, which was disgusting. When they got closer, they felt their stomachs were rolling. Lu Li's eyes reddened as well. There was a fence surrounding the tribe. At the moment, there were corpses all over the fence. At a glance, there were at least 1,000 people, old and young, men and women. The corpses were smelly and had started to rot. Flies, mosquitoes, and bedbugs were all over them. Sixth granduncle. By the gate of the tribe, Lu Li saw an old body. The eyes of the body were still wide open. Clearly, he died with everlasting regret. Plop! Lu Li dropped to his knees. This old man was of the same bloodline as his grandpa. If it were not for him, Lu Li and Lu Ling would have been driven out of the tribe and forced to live in the wild. Now this old man was killed because of Lu Li. He died with everlasting regret, and his body was exposed in the wild for so many days. Lu Li felt like a knife was twisting in his heart. He was filled with guilt and rage. Swish! Right at that moment, there came two noises piercing through the sky from the west. Hunchback Tian was alarmed at once. He glanced over and saw two seven-colored fate wheels. One of them had two layers. His expressions changed greatly. Chapter 221. It was dawn in the east. A ray of golden sun broke through the dark night and sprinkled its light over the land. The majestic Emperor city was also illuminated, making it even more magnificent. Many people in the city got up early. Many people must not have had a good sleep last night. The civilians in the city were worried for the whole night. They were afraid that they would be implicated when the Bai family and the Yu family started a war. Look to the east. They are here. They are finally here. Shouts and shouts came out, making the Yu Emperor city livelier in the early morning. Many people walked out of their homes and looked to the sky in the east. Soon, many men were intoxicated. From where the sun rose in the east, a chariot made of purple gold flew over slowly. The chariot was made of purple gold with many gems inlaid on it. It looked very dazzling. The two beauties standing in front of the chariot were even more dazzling than the gems. Bai Qiuxue and Bai Xiaoshuang were wearing soft armors today. Bai Xiaoshuang's was red and Bai Qiuxue's was white. The soft armors did not cover their entire bodies. Their white and slender thighs, their full bellies, and their ivory arms were all exposed to the air. Bai Xiaoshuang was holding a red bow in her hand, looking heroic and heroic. Bai Qiuxue was holding a whip. Instead of looking heroic, she was more charming. One was red and the other was white. One was active and the other was still. The two ladies could make many men fall head over heels. Now, there were two of them and they looked exactly the same. Many young men in the Yu Emperor city felt their hearts beating faster. Their eyes were filled with intoxication. The sun rose from the east, shining down. Bai Xiaoshuang and Bai Qiuxue flew over from the east as if they were stepping on the glow. The glow seemed to be specially made for the two of them. At this moment, the two of them were like fairies descending from heaven, breathtakingly beautiful. Many young masters of the Yu family in the Yu family compound were alarmed. However, at this moment, they all forgot about the identity of the two and forgot that they were from the Thousand Island Lake. Many young masters were excited. Their eyes were filled with passion and their breaths were short. One of the two sisters looked calm while the other was excited. She held her head up proudly and glanced at the faces on the ground as if she were inspecting her subjects. Lu Yi stood behind the two sisters. Lu Yi's looks were not bad, but at this moment, everyone ignored her. Lu Yi did not want others to notice her, just like how she was the maidservant of the two sisters. Her body was tense, and she was very nervous. The chariot slowly flew over and arrived at the city square. Before Bai Qiuxue said anything, Bai Xiaoshuang did. She cupped her fists and said, "I am Bai Xiaoshuang, a disciple of the Bai family of the Thousand Island Lake. My sister Bai Qiuxue and I are here to pay a visit to you, Huaxin family patriarch." The noise in the city gradually quieted down. Some people gradually gathered near the square, but of course, none of them dared to approach. The scouts of the Yu family were walking around in the city, investigating everything that could be found, trying to take control of the situation. The Yu family compound was quiet. Yu Huaxin didn't show up. After a while, an old man walked out of the Yu family compound with several warriors of the Eternal Realm. The white-bearded elder's aura was powerful, much stronger than Yu Feinong's. It was obvious that he was at the same level as Bai Long, at the peak of the imperishable realm. Yu Feinong was standing behind the white-haired old man. The 6 warriors of the imperishable realm looked solemn. It was hard to tell whether they were happy or not. They didn't look like they were here to welcome the 2 sisters. The white-haired old man cupped his fists and said, "I am Yu Huaxian, the chief patriarch of the Yu family. Bai Qiuxue and Bai Xiaoshuang, the 2 pearls of the Thousand Island Lake, talented and as beautiful as fairies. I have heard about them a long time ago. Now that I have seen them, they are indeed extraordinary." Yu Huaxian paused for a bit and continued, "Ladies, you have come all the way to the Yu Emperor's city. What can I do for you? If you are here as guests, I welcome you on behalf of the Yu family. Please come in and have a chat." Yu Huaxian's attitude was neither cold nor warm. neither overbearing nor servile. He could not be used against, and he did not lose the bearing of a big family. Inviting the two into the castle was also giving them a way out. If the two agreed to go in, the Yu family would definitely treat them well. Of course, Bai Qiuxue and Bai Xiaoshuang were not here as guests. If they were here for sightseeing, they would have gone to the Heaven Martial City instead of coming all the way to the Yu Emperor's city. Bai Xiaoshuang snorted and said, "Lord Yu, I am sorry. We are not here as guests. We are here to ask for an explanation from the Yu family. If the Yu family can satisfy us, we will go into the Yu family compound. If not, we will never come back to the Yu Emperor's city again." They are here to pick a fight. The patriarchs of the Yu family were worried, but none of them said anything. Yu Huaxian smiled lightly and said, "Explanation? What explanation do you want? I wonder, when did the Yu family offend you?" "We did not offend you," Bai Xiaoshuang said in a cold voice. "Your future family patriarch almost killed my sister in the tomb of Dragon King. When our forefather learned about it, he asked us to come and ask the Yu family how you're going to deal with it. Are you going to let it go?" What? The Yu family compound was in an uproar. Many people were enraged. Yu Lingxu was killed by Lu Li in the tomb of Dragon King. After Lu Li came out, the Yu family wanted to capture him. Bai Lung intervened and destroyed two patriarchs of the Yu family. In the end, Yu Feijiao was killed by a mysterious, powerful warrior of the Thousand Island Lake. This was a great loss for the Yu family. The Yu family didn't go to the Thousand Island Lake or the Bai family to ask for an explanation. Bai Xiaoshuang and Bai Qiuxue came to the Yu family to ask for an explanation. This was twisting black and white and the biggest joke in the world. Did they really think the Yu family was a small family that could be bullied at will? Yu Fainong and the others looked gloomy. Yu Huaxian didn't change his expression. He raised his hand to stop a patriarch behind him who was about to say something. He looked at Bai Xiaoshuang and said, "Ladies, did you get it wrong? Our future family patriarch died in the tomb of Dragon King, and the murderer was from the Thousand Island Lake. Later, two patriarchs of our family were injured by Bai Long, and Yu Feijia died in the Thousand Island Lake. You want an explanation from us? Let me do it." Bai Qiuxue patted Bai Xiaoshuang's shoulder. Bai Xiaoshuang stepped back. Bai Qiuxue walked to the front and said with a smile, "Patriarch Yu Huaxian, don't confuse us. I witnessed the whole thing. I can't be clearer. Yu Lingxu wanted to kill me at the Dragon King Mountain. Luli was my escort. In order to protect me, he risked his life to kill Yu Lingxu. Later, your family wanted to kill Luli. Luli is from the Bai family. Uncle Lung did it to protect us. Uncle Lung had the chance to kill a patriarch of the Yu family. In the end, he showed mercy to the Yu family. As for the death of Yu Feijia, we don't know that mysterious, powerful warrior. If you want to seek revenge, go ahead and find him. It has nothing to do with the Bai family. Can you understand me?" Bai Qiushue's tone was calm. Her words were clear and organized. Her words gave people a sense of trust, as if such a delicate beauty would not lie. Her words soon caused an uproar in the city. Was it really as she said? What a joke. Yu Fainong could not stand it anymore. He laughed out of anger and said, "Lady Qiuxue, you are the one who confuses us. You said that Yu Lingxu wanted to kill you at the Dragon King Mountain? That is only your side of the story. You are not dead, but Yu Lingxu is. This is an unchangeable fact. No matter how glib your tongue is, you cannot change this fact. Only my side of the story." Bai Qiuxue smiled lightly. She suddenly turned to the Yu family compound and shouted, "Sister Lian should be in the Yu family compound right now. Please come out and see me. P.S. Chapter 3 is here. It is past 4 o'clock in the morning. The time is not fixed. Update ahead of schedule." Chapter 222. Sister Lian, of course, was Zilian. Bai Qiuxue and Bai Xiaoshuang were the pearls of the Thousand Island Lake. But Zilian was the pearl of the Heaven Martial Kingdom, the well-deserved #1 young lady, the goddess of many men of the Heaven Martial Kingdom. Whoosh! Now that she was called, Zilian could not hide in the yard anymore. She flew up, and a golden chariot appeared. Zilian stood on the chariot and bowed in a low voice. Greetings, Sister Chioshua and Xiaoshuang. Today, Zilian was wearing a light blue dress with a yellow ribbon tied around her waist, making her waist look extremely slender. Her beautiful black hair was casually coiled up with a green wooden hairpin, making her look gentle and beautiful. Her bright eyes seemed to be able to speak, making her look extremely lovely. Bai Qiushue and Bai Xiaoshuang bowed back at once. Bai Qiushue said with a smile, Sister Lian, you look radiant and beautiful. I think you have recovered. Sister Lian, do you still remember the fight at the Dragon King Mountain? Zilian sighed and said, Of course. How can I forget young Master Lu's kindness of saving my life? Yes, Sister Lian is so righteous. Bai Qiushue nodded. She looked at Yu Huaxian and said, Patriarch Huaxian, that day, Yu Lingshu was possessed by the devil. Not only did he want to kill me, he almost killed Sister Lian, Lady Yi Yuhan, young Master Yi Longyu, and young Master Du Xiling. What I want to say is, if it were not for the fact that Lu Li killed Yu Lingshu would have made a grave mistake, and your Yu family would have been destroyed. Therefore, not only can you not kill Lu Li, you must thank him. What? The city was in an uproar. Zilian said nothing, which meant that she agreed with Bai Qiushue's words. Also, Bai Qiushue said that Yi Yuhan, Yi Longyu, and Du Xiling were almost killed. How could she lie about this? She could be confronted. With Bai Qiushue's status, she could not tell such a lie. So, everything was true? Yu Lingshu was possessed by the devil in the tomb of Dragon King and wanted to kill Bai Qiushue and Zilian. Eventually, Lu Li killed Yu Lingshu. Not only was Lu Li not guilty, but he saved the Yu family? Think about it. If Bai Qiushue, Zilian, Yi Yuhan, and Du Xiling all died in the hands of Yu Lingshu, the Yu family would definitely be exterminated by the several furious families. The Yu Emperor's city might not even be spared. Yu Huaxian was confused, and so was Yu Fainan. Zilian had never told the Yu family about this, nor did Yi Yuhan and Du Xiling. How could they know? They had the moral high ground, but the tables had turned. The Yu family had become the sinners. Yu Huaxian did not know what to do. The most important person in this matter was Zilian. This time, Zilian was here to represent the Z clan. Originally, she thought she was here to help the Yu clan. Unexpectedly, she was here to testify for Bai Qiushue, causing the Yu clan to be caught unprepared and in the wrong. If they were in the wrong, it meant that Bai Shi and the others could openly appear and start a war with the Yu family. If they were not careful today, the Yu family's 10,000 years of foundation would be destroyed in a day. Seeing that Yu Huaxian did not speak, Bai Qiushue said, Patriarch Yu, why don't you speak? Shouldn't the Yu family give us an explanation? If you can't make the decision, then let the Feather Transformation God Race's leader come out and say it. What kind of explanation do you want? A bestial roar came from the yard of the Yu family. Then, several people rushed out. The one in the front released a strange aura. They flew out of the yard and stood in front of Yu Huaxian and the others. Yu Huaxian was like a beast king. He stared at Bai Qiushue and said, My grandson is dead. One patriarch of the Yu family is dead and two are disabled. What more do you want? Do you want me, Yu Huaxian, to offer you my head as an apology? I'm right here. If you want it, just do as you please. Yu Huaxian's words made the atmosphere in the city depressed. The air seemed to be frozen. The patriarchs of the Yu family released their murderous intent, as if a fight would break out at any moment. But it was understandable. No matter what happened, Yu Lingshu was dead, and the Yu family lost 3 patriarchs. The Yu family was disgraced. Now, Bai Qiushue and Bai Qiushue were here to ask for an explanation. Even a good man would lose his temper. Ha. Bai Qiushue's expression didn't change. Bai Xiaoshuang didn't have a trace of fear. Instead, she was angry. Bai Qiushue looked at Yu Huaxian calmly and said, You are so powerful, family patriarch Yu. Do you really think the Bai family is a pushover? Whoosh! Bai Qiushue threw a signal detonator into the sky. It exploded in the air like a firework. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. In the mountains to the south of the Yu Emperor's city, 12 warriors flew up. 11 7-colored fate wheels appeared. The 11 of them got on the fate wheels and followed an old man with white eyebrows to the city. Before they got close, the ferocious energy that was like that of a ferocious beast came to their faces. People in the city were frightened to the depth of their souls. Family patriarch, you are indeed powerful. The old man with white eyebrows flew to the city. He stood in the air and sneered. Even my family patriarch doesn't dare to shout at Xiuxue and Xiaoshuang like this. You are bold. Come, if you want to shout, shout at me. I want to see how capable your Yu family is. Baishi's abdomen glowed as a 9-colored bead appeared. The bead was small, only the size of a finger. But the moment the bead appeared, it was as if the entire world had disappeared. Everyone's attention was attracted by the bead. Bead of life. To reach the noble Lord realm, one must make 9 fate wheels into a bead of life. That was the representative of the noble Lord realm. Baishi's bead of life was like showing his sword. If Yu Huashan didn't make his next words clear, the Yu Emperor's city would be flooded with blood today. Master Baishi, Zilian was getting anxious. She was not worried about her own safety. Baishi didn't dare to hurt her. She was here to mediate. Naturally, she could not allow a war to break out. She controlled the chariot to fly to the center of the plaza, bowed and said, "Greetings, Master Bai. I am here on behalf of the Z family to mediate. The agreement between the Thousand Island Lake and the 3 royal families is still in effect. We have been getting along well in recent years. Please don't make a big fuss over such a trivial matter." Baishi glanced at Zilian indifferently, but did not say anything. Zilian helplessly bowed to Autumn Snow and said, "Sister Autumn Snow, I know why you are here this time. Why don't I mediate and turn hostility into friendship?" This was what Bai Qiushua wanted. She said with determination, "Sister Lien, if he is okay, let's drop the matter. If he is dead, the Yu Emperor's city will be flooded with blood." Him? Many people were confused, but Zilian and the people of the Yu family understood. Of course, he was Lu Li. Bai Qiushua was here for Lu Li. She had come to the Yu Emperor's city to denounce Lu Li and also to protect him. Zilian looked at Yu Huashan and begged, "Family patriarch Yu, I am begging you. What do you think?" Yu Huashan's eyes flickered. Eventually, he waved his hand and said, "Yulin, send my order. Spare that punk's life." Yulin didn't move. Seeing that people were looking at him, he said with a bitter smile, "I think it is too late. The time for one incense stick to burn came from the Wuling County. They have started fighting. Granted, the Bai family has a powerful warrior of the Eternal Realm over there, but I have a backup plan. I'm afraid that punk. Bullsh asterisk T." Before Yulin could finish, Baishi shouted angrily, "There are only 12 warriors of the Bai family, and all of them are here. When did we send someone over?" Swish, swish, swish. Chapter 2:23. Over at the D Long tribe, Lu Li and Hunchback Tian felt it was too late. 2 warriors of the Fate Wheel realm came, and one of them had a 2-layered Fate Wheel. Their fighting abilities were much more powerful than Hunchback Tian's. If there were only one warrior, Hunchback Tian could hold him off for a while, and Lu Li still had time and a chance to run away. Lu Li could not give up no matter what. He made up his mind and put his 6th granduncle's body into his interspatial ring. Then he ran for his life towards the D Long tribe. He shouted to Hunchback Tian angrily, "Hunchback Tian, run by yourself. If I die, I will undo the mark on the Jade Talisman for you." Hunchback Tian was obedient. He released his fate wheel at once and flew towards another direction. He knew that the Yu family warriors must be here to hunt down Lu Li. If one of them went after Lu Li, he might have a chance of survival. He was right. The 2 warriors in the distance immediately separated. The 2-layered Fate Wheel warrior flew towards Hunchback Tian, and the other one at the first rank of the Fate Wheel realm flew towards the D Long tribe, trying to kill Lu Li. Back at the D Long tribe, looking at the familiar stone fort, Lu Li was filled with emotions. Even though he did not have many feelings for the tribe, he was born and raised here after all. At the moment, there was nobody in the tribe. Many stone forts had collapsed. The vitality of the past was gone, and everything was in ruins. Luli had no time to reminisce about the past. He ran through the stone fort as fast as he could. He was so familiar with the tribe that he crossed the tribe easily and rushed into the back mountain. There was a dense forest at the back mountain. That was his only escape route. He had cultivated in the back mountain for 7 years. He knew every path and every cave in the back mountain. If he wanted to run away, he had to go into a secret tunnel and sneak out of the back mountain from there. Of course, even if he could get out of the back mountain, Luli was not sure that he could make it out alive. Being chased by a warrior of the Fate Wheel realm, his speed was not fast enough. Swish! A 7-colored Fate Wheel whizzed over. Before it got close to Luli, a ray of sword light pierced through the air. Luli didn't look back. Out of instinct, he rolled on the ground to the left and rushed into the forest. Bang! The ground where Luli was just standing on was cut by the ray of sword light. Mud and stones cracked, dust flew everywhere, and a deep ravine appeared. Boom, boom, boom. Luli was running for his life in the dense forest. Rays of sword light kept coming at him, cutting down trees after trees. He used apparition to create 10 shadows to affect the judgment of the Fate Wheel realm warrior behind him. Otherwise, he would have been dead after a few rounds of attacks. In midair, a middle-aged man of the Fate Wheel realm sneered. He watched as Luli transformed into shadows and ran around in the forest. Luli had dodged his sword light several times, but he wasn't worried at all. In his eyes, Luli was no different from a hamster. Even if this hamster had some tricks up his sleeve, the end result would be the same: death. The difference between the late stage of the Spirit Sea realm and the Fate Wheel realm was like the difference between a giant man and a child. No, a baby. Therefore, he was not in a hurry to kill Luli. Instead, he kept shooting out rays of sword light. He wanted to see Luli struggle like a monkey before his death, to let Luli see a glimmer of hope, and then to make him despair. Swish! Luli's speed was at the top of his limit. Behind him, there were 10 shadows following him. Luli didn't look at the road ahead. He kept his eyes on the Fate Wheel realm warrior in midair, paying close attention to his every move. Swish! Another ray of sword light pierced through the air. Luli hurriedly rolled forward and kept rolling. Then he got up and ran. Bang! The saber light smashed a boulder into pieces. Gravel sputtered all over the sky, and stone dust soared into the sky, covering a part of the sky. The sound of the explosion reverberated in the forest, scaring many small beasts and scurrying away. Here we are. Luli's eyes lit up. There was a valley in front of him. There was a pond in the valley. Above the pond was a waterfall like the Milky Way. Luli once refined his body here for 7 years, so he couldn't be more familiar with the place. He also knew that there was an underground river under the pond that could lead to the back of the mountain. Plop! Without any hesitation, he dove into the pool and rushed into the underground river as fast as he could, moving stealthily all the way. The middle-aged man at the Fate Wheel realm in midair finally felt something was wrong. He sneered and said, "Game over." He jumped down from the sky. The 7-colored Fate Wheel smashed into the pond in a blur. He was going to crack the mountain open. Boom! With an earth-shaking sound, the mountain seemed to have been cracked open. The water in the pond splashed around and all turned into mist. It was evaporated. The cliff above the waterfall cracked. A huge crack appeared in the middle. The waterfall disappeared as well. The mist spread up and covered the sky. The Fate Wheel that was like a huge disc smashed into the bottom of the pond and chased after Luli. Oh no! Luli was rushing down to the underground river when he suddenly realized that all the water in the underground river had turned into mist. A surge of powerful chi and energy enveloped him. At that moment, he felt the sky was falling on him. The sky was pressing down on him, trying to crush him into dust. Fate Wheel. The Fate Wheel was made of many treasured materials. It was as hard as a heaven-grade Xian artifact and unbreakable. Back in the days, Lu Ruffum was smashed to death by a Fate Wheel. A warrior at the peak of the Soul Pond realm could be killed easily. How could Luli fight back? Little White, run. Run as far as you can. If we meet again in our next lives, I will find you the most delicious food. The fate wheel was so fast that Luli couldn't run away. He threw Little White out from his sleeve and shouted at the same time. He himself stabbed at his head with his mighty heaven halberd, trying to shake the sky like an ant. Squeak, squeak, Little White came back. In a blur, it dashed toward Luli's head, trying to fight the fate wheel for him. Little White, have you lost your mind? Run. Luli shouted anxiously. But Little White didn't stop for a second. It smashed into the fate wheel. It even opened its mouth and bit at the huge seven-colored fate wheel. At that moment, Luli trembled as if he saw a ghost in broad daylight. He saw Little White biting a hole in the seven-colored fate wheel, and then Little White rushed into the fate wheel. How? Luli was trembling. He swallowed his saliva. Looking at the hole in the seven-colored fate wheel, he felt he had seen the most ridiculous thing in the world. He knew Little White's teeth were sharp, but what was a fate wheel? It was made of countless treasured materials. It was as hard as a heaven Gradeshian artifact. It was almost unbreakable. Average warriors couldn't break it. At the cliff of Purgatory, Bai Lung cracked a fate wheel in one move. But Bai Lung was at the peak of the Eternal Realm. Also, Bai Lung used his 7th rank bloodline. How could Little White crack a fate wheel with its teeth? Boom! The fate wheel kept pressing down, but the seven-colored glow was getting weaker and weaker. When the fate wheel was about 10 feet above Lu Li's head, it stopped. There was no longer any glow. Poof! That fate wheel realm warrior in midair didn't even fall to the ground. He let out a miserable cry in midair and then spat out some blood. His eyes rolled up and he fell to the ground. He passed out right away. The fate wheel was the foundation of a fate wheel realm warrior. When it was destroyed, the warrior's vitality would be sapped and he would be seriously injured. Little White bit a hole in the fate wheel of the warrior and got in. Little White started to eat and destroy the powerful warrior's fate wheel. The warrior's vitality was sapped, and he fell into a coma. Gurgle, gurgle. Chapter 2:24. Whoosh! While Luli was still in a daze, Little White came out from the hole in the fate wheel. Its eyes were filled with satisfaction, as if the materials in the fate wheel were delicious. Let me go out and have a look. Luli remembered the miserable scream of the warrior. He rushed out with Little White. He waved his halberd and crushed the mud and stones to get out of the pond. Okay. Luli was overjoyed to see the fate wheel realm warrior lying on the ground in a coma with blood coming out of his mouth. He rushed over and smashed at the warrior's head with his halberd. Bang! The fate wheel realm warrior's head was crushed. Luli still felt like he was dreaming looking at the dead body. He looked at Little White and said, Little White, how can you break a fate wheel? That is a fate wheel. Squeak, squeak, Little White raised its head proudly and squeaked with disdain. It was telling Luli in a silent way that breaking a fate wheel was nothing to it. Boom, boom, boom. From the north came some muffled noises which startled Luli. He put away the fate wheel realm warrior's weapon and rushed towards the north with Little White. On their way, he said to Little White, Little White, can you break all fate wheels? Squeak, squeak, Little White nodded with certainty. It grinned, revealing its sharp teeth. Li's eyes glowed. The most powerful weapon of a fate wheel realm warrior was his fate wheel, which was the most important thing for him. Once his fate wheel was broken, the warrior's vitality would be weakened and he could be killed easily. If Little White could break a fate wheel easily, then as long as a fate wheel realm warrior released his fate wheel, he would be courting death. Luli rushed towards the north. For one thing, he was worried that Hunchback Tion would be killed. For another, he was eager to test out Little White's abilities. If Little White could break a fate wheel easily, then Luli could kill a fate wheel realm warrior at will. After traveling for more than 30 miles, Luli finally saw Hunchback Tion and another fate wheel realm warrior fighting. They both released their fate wheels and kept bumping against each other. At the same time, they were fighting hand-to-hand. But it was obvious that Hunchback Tion was at a disadvantage and was being suppressed. Every time the two fate wheels collided, Hunchback Tion's face would turn pale. The fate wheel was the foundation of a warrior. His opponent had a two-layered fate wheel, while Hunchback Tion had a one-layered fate wheel. How could he win? Luli sneaked over and moved closer to the two fate wheels. When he reached the fate wheel, he gritted his teeth and leaped up. He swung his mighty heaven halberd at the two-layered fate wheel. The powerful warrior fighting against Hunchback Tion noticed Luli at once. He was surprised to see Luli at first, but then he controlled his fate wheel to smash at Luli with a mocking expression. Fate wheels were indestructible. How could Luli break them with his weapon? What a joke! Since Luli was courting death, then he would fulfill his wish. Swish! The fate wheel was so fast that Luli only saw a flash of colorful light. The fate wheel was about to hit him. He hurriedly rolled down in fright. He swung his hand upwards and shouted, "Shao Bai, I'll leave it to you." Little White turned into an afterimage and dashed towards the fate wheel. It grabbed the fate wheel with its two little claws and easily fixed itself on the fate wheel. Then it opened its mouth and bit the fate wheel. A hole was formed in the fate wheel, and Little White entered the fate wheel. What is it? Ah! The powerful warrior in the distance shouted in alarm. He had a spiritual connection with the fate wheel. He could clearly sense what was going on in the fate wheel. With a miserable scream, he controlled the fate wheel to fly back quickly, trying to put it back into his body. How fast was Little White? It had eaten up an abandoned Xian artifact in no time. Little White was gnawing away at the fate wheel. Soon, the glow of the fate wheel dimmed down, which meant that the fate wheel was being damaged. Boom! Before the fate wheel could be put back, it was destroyed completely. It fell down with a loud noise, causing the ground to shake and dust to rise up. Poof! The fate wheel realm warrior spat out some blood and fell to the ground. Hunchback Tion, on the other hand, was stunned. He stared at the fate wheel realm warrior and then at the fate wheel on the ground as if he had seen a ghost. What are you waiting for? Kill him. Luli's angry shout woke Hunchback Tion up. Hunchback Tion quickly swung his saber and cut off the head of the fate wheel realm warrior. Looking at the rolling head, Hunchback Tion felt he was still in a dream. He thought he was going to die, for sure. In terms of speed and fighting capacity, he was no match for Luli. Many times, he even wanted to inflict serious damage to Luli to see if he could die with him. He had lost all hope. Little did he expect that he could survive in such a desperate situation. Hunchback Tion was already stunned that he was saved. What was more, the person who saved him was Luli, a warrior at the later stage of the Spirit Sea realm. Luli destroyed the fate wheel of a powerful enemy just by making a move? This was ridiculous. It had subverted Hunchback Tion's understanding of Wu Dao. Whoosh! Little White rushed out from the fate wheel and landed on Lu Li's shoulder. It raised its head as if it was waiting for Lu Li's praise. Well done, Little White. I love you so much. Lu Li's eyes were filled with passion and excitement. He hugged Little White and kissed it. This little beast was freakish. It could really break open and destroy a fate wheel. Hunchback Tion looked at Lu Li, who was wild with joy, and then at the cute little beast. He finally understood. So it was not Lu Li's doing, but the little beast's doing? Hiss. Hunchback Tion put away his fate wheel and walked to the fate wheel on the ground. He turned it over and saw a big hole in it. The patterns inside were all damaged. He was shocked. He had a fate wheel himself. He knew very well that if the patterns inside were damaged, then the fate wheel would be useless. Warriors would also be seriously injured and pass out. Hunchback Tion looked at Little White again as if he was looking at a ferocious beast. The little beast was small in size, but it was more horrifying than Xian beasts of high ranks. For a warrior of the fate wheel realm, to have his fate wheel destroyed would be more painful than death. Hunchback Tion swallowed his saliva and asked, "Master, what kind of pet is this? Is it an ancient beast?" "I don't know." Luli shook his head. He didn't explain too much. He was also confused about the origin of Little White. This little beast was freakish. It was definitely not an average one. In the past, he and Lu Ling suspected that Little White was a third-rank Xian beast. Now, it seemed that Little White was definitely more than that. It must be at least of the 4th or 5th rank. Master, Hunchback Tion looked at Little White and said in a serious tone, "You must not let others know about this little beast. Otherwise, it will be snatched away. This little beast is too powerful. It is not fully grown yet. When it grows up, it will be even more horrifying. It could defeat many warriors of the Fate Wheel realm and the Eternal realm. Any warrior that dares to show his Fate Wheel will die for sure." Of course, Luli knew this. Speaking of the Eternal realm, Luli frowned. He thought about it and said with a glint of coldness in his eyes, "Let's go to the Wuling County and wash the Boof family with blood." Hunchback Tion looked at Luli as if he was looking at a retard. Luli had just escaped from death. Now, he should leave this place and sneak back to the Thousand Island Lake. Luli, this retard, wanted to go to the Wuling County. Was it not thrilling enough for him? Or is he bored of living? What are you afraid of? Chapter 225. Luli's way of thinking was completely different from Hunchback Tion's. Since his life was picked up, he would risk it all. The Yu family had sent so many people to kill him, but the Bu family had been so heartless as to kill everyone in the D Long tribe and dig up his maternal grandfather's grave. He had to make the Bu family pay with their blood and let the Yu family know his wrath. According to his estimation, there should be no warriors of the Eternal Realm nearby or in the Wuling County. Although he didn't know the reason, if there was someone in the Eternal Realm, he and Hunchback Tion would have been dead a long time ago. That mysterious strong man couldn't have lured the Eternal Realm away and suppressed them. The Wuling County was not far from here. If Hunchback Tion flew his Fate Wheel at full speed, it would take him less than an hour at most. If an imperishable realm martial practitioner came after them, they wouldn't be able to escape either, so they might as well take revenge. Hunchback Tion dared not to disobey Lu Li's forceful order. He released his Fate Wheel and flew towards the Wuling County with Lu Li in a blur. Not long after the two of them left, a black shadow burst out from a mountain in the distance. His entire body was covered in black clothes, revealing only a pair of cold eyes. He saw a broken Fate Wheel on the ground and a dead warrior of the Yu family. He was a little surprised. He walked around and found another body and a broken order in the valley. He took a few looks and suddenly said in a hoarse voice, "Dragons give birth to dragons, and phoenixes give birth to phoenixes. Luren Huang's son is really not a piece of trash." Xiao. With that said, the man in black rushed towards the Wuling County at a horrifying speed, several times faster than Hunchback Tion on his Fate Wheel. Whoosh! Hunchback Tion flew towards the Wuling County with great momentum. Naturally, many scouts in hiding were alarmed along the way. Luli ordered Hunchback Tion to kill all the scouts he saw with his Xian energy. The Fate Wheel was fast. In the time it took for 2 incense sticks to burn, the Wuling County was already in sight. There were many warriors in brown armors standing on the city wall. They were not nervous to see a Fate Wheel flying towards them. They thought it was a powerful warrior of the Yu family. When the Fate Wheel realm warrior got closer, he was a stranger to the warriors. They didn't know him at all. One of the commanders shouted angrily, "Who are you? The Wuling County is under martial law. Please take a detour." Xiao, a warrior of the Fate Wheel realm in the city, flew up as well. It was a 3-layered Fate Wheel. A middle-aged man looked over and shouted after a while, "Luli and Hunchback Tion, the entire city is on alert." Whoosh, 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 countless martial artists in the courtyards flew up one by one. Many black figures climbed onto the city walls as if they were facing a great enemy. Many crossbows were set up and aimed at Lu Li and Hunchback Tion. Lu Li took out his mighty heaven halberd. He pointed at the middle-aged, powerful warrior with a 3-layered Fate Wheel and said, "Are you from the Yu family? Where is the patriarch of the Bu family? Did you kill the people of the D Long tribe? Did you dig up my grandfather's grave?" It really is Lu Li. Charge. Killing intent surged in the eyes of the 3-layered Fate Wheel warrior. In the courtyard of the Lu family, a 1-layered Fate Wheel rose into the air. An old man with a ferocious expression said, I am the Bu family patriarch. I dug your grandfather's grave with my own hands. I killed all the people of the Long tribe. Lu Li, there's a way out for you. Listen up. Kill Lu Li and you will be rewarded handsomely. Okay. Lu Li smiled. Hunchback Tian was relieved as well. There really was no warrior of the Eternal Realm in the city, only 2 of the Fate Wheel Realm. If they could kill the 2 warriors of the Fate Wheel Realm, it would be a piece of cake to bathe the Wuling County in blood. Hunchback Tian, release your Fate Wheel. Get close to his Fate Wheel and dodge at once. Lu Li whispered to Hunchback Tian's ear. Hunchback Tian's eyes were filled with excitement. That was a warrior at the peak of the Fate Wheel Realm. If he could destroy his Fate Wheel, it would be so exciting. Whoosh! He controlled the Fate Wheel to slide in an arc, easily dodging the arrows that filled the sky. The warrior at the peak of the Fate Wheel Realm sneered. He flew up, and the 3-layered Fate Wheel began to spin. With strong wind and shocking momentum, he was going to smash Hunchback Tian's Fate Wheel and the 2 warriors to death. Break! When the 3-layered Fate Wheel got closer, Lu Li swung his mighty heaven halberd and hacked forward. A white light flashed in his hand. He rushed to the Fate Wheel, grabbed it, and bit at it. The warrior at the peak of the Fate Wheel Realm was Yu Yang of the Yu family. The others couldn't see Little White clearly, but he could. He had a bad feeling. What is this? When Little White broke the Fate Wheel and got in, Yu Yang trembled. A sense of fear came from the depth of his soul. Then he saw the glow of the Fate Wheel dimming down, which scared him out of his wits. Whoosh! He controlled the Fate Wheel to fly back at once. He wanted to take it back, but it was too late. The 7-colored glow of the Fate Wheel was dimming down at a speed visible to the naked eye. By the time the Fate Wheel reached him, it was already dim. Poof! He blacked out and blood oozed out from the corner of his mouth. He smashed down with the Fate Wheel, which scared the family patriarch of the Bu family who was flying over. Boom! The huge Fate Wheel smashed down and leveled a stone fort to the ground. 2 warriors were smashed to death. Then Yu Yang fell down. He rolled around on the ground and passed out. Nobody knew if he was alive or dead. Dead silence. It was dead silence. Many people looked at the huge Fate Wheel and Yu Yang, who was lying in a pool of blood. They were scared out of their wits. Many people had no idea what was going on. All they saw was Yu Yang releasing his Fate Wheel, and then it flew back. In the end, the Fate Wheel and Yu Yang smashed down together. Control the Fate Wheel to fly down and get Little White back. Lu Li didn't stay idle. He gave an order to Hunchback Tian at once. Hunchback Tian's face was glowing. He was so excited that he couldn't control himself. He controlled the Fate Wheel to fly down at once. Lu Li shouted, Little White. Whoosh! Little White flew out from the Fate Wheel and went into Lu Li's sleeve. Lu Li jumped down from the Fate Wheel, swung his mighty heaven halberd, and smashed at Yu Yang's head. Bang! Yu Yang's head was smashed. This muffled sound exploded in the hearts of all the warriors of the Bu family like thunder. Many people were trembling in fear. The Bu family would not be able to absolve themselves from the blame if Yu Yang died in the Wuling County. What was more, after today, would there still be a Bu family? Lu Li? Is this the Lu Li that left the Wuling County? Many people couldn't believe it. Also, Lu Li was only at the later stage of the Spirit Sea realm. How could he kill Yu Yang, who was at the peak of the Fate Wheel realm, with one move? Hoi! Without any hesitation, Lu Li flew back to Hunchback Tian's Fate Wheel. He looked at the family patriarch of the Bu family and said, The Bu family will be wiped out today because of your wrong decision. Go to the underworld and apologize to your ancestors of the Bu family. Whoosh! Hunchback Tian controlled the Fate Wheel to rush toward the family patriarch of the Bu family. The latter was so scared that his face turned pale. After a moment of hesitation, he controlled the Fate Wheel to fly to the distance quickly without any pause. In the blink of an eye, he was out of the Wuling County. Master, Hunchback Tian looked at Lu Li, who made up his mind, and said, Never mind. I will spare his life for now. Do it. Kill all the warriors of the Bu family. Leave none alive. Many warriors of the Bu family in brown armors turned pale. Hunchback Tian controlled the fate wheel to fly down and started killing the warriors of the Bu family. Roar! Chapter 226. The Wuling County was flooded with blood. The Yu Emperor City, on the other hand, was quiet. The atmosphere was strange and depressing. When Yuluan said it was too late, Bai Qiushue and Bai Xiaoshuang looked awful. Bai Shi and the others didn't know what to think. They stood behind Bai Qiushue without saying anything. It was clear that if Lu Li died, there would be no end to this day. Yu Huashan asked someone to send a message at once to see if it was too late. Bai Qiushue and the others didn't say anything. They didn't go into the castle, waiting for the result. Of course, Yu Huashan and the others couldn't go back. They stood there with anxiety, waiting for the news and for the situation to worsen. Zillian was upset. She should have taken control of the situation earlier and asked the Yu family to stop. The situation was getting out of control. If Lu Li died, Bai Qiushue would go crazy and seek revenge on the Yu family. Bai Shi and the others would go crazy as well. By then, the situation would be out of control. After a moment of silence, Yu Luan asked with confusion, "Lord Bai Shi, you said that the Bai family didn't send anyone to protect Lu Li, but according to our information, there is a mysterious warrior following Lu Li. Many scouts of our family have died. In the Fengshan County, that mysterious warrior even pretended to be Hunchback Tian and distracted our scouts. Many families nearby know about this. I guess that warrior is of the Eternal Realm. I don't think there are many warriors of the Eternal Realm at the Thousand Island Lake." I said no, so no. Bai Shi coldly said, "Do you think I will lie to you?" Everyone quieted down again. Bai Qiushue and the others were confused. There was a warrior of the Eternal Realm protecting Lu Li? Who was that mysterious, powerful warrior when all the warriors of the Bai family were here? There were indeed few warriors of the Eternal Realm at the Thousand Island Lake. Apart from the Eternal Realm warrior of the Bai family, only 3 family patriarchs of the 4th rank families were at the Eternal Realm. But those families had nothing to do with Lu Li. A 5th rank family could only have 3 warriors of the Eternal Realm and a 6th rank family with 3 warriors of the Noble Lord Realm. Those 3 families only had 1 warrior of the Eternal Realm, so they were still 4th rank families. The Bai family and the Yu family were the same. Even though they had warriors of the Noble Lord Realm, they didn't have 3. There were some 5th rank families and some Noble Lord Realm warriors of the Northern Desert. But there was no force that had 3 Noble Lord Realm warriors. Therefore, the 3 strongest royal clans were also 5th rank clans. Bai Shi was sure that nobody of the Bai family was secretly following Lu Li. The family patriarchs of the 3 4th rank families had nothing to do with Lu Li. Then who was the mysterious, powerful warrior helping Lu Li? Could it be the mysterious Noble Lord Realm warrior at the Cliff of Purgatory? Could it be that it wasn't a coincidence that he acted at the bottom of the Cliff of Purgatory? What was so special about Lu Li? Why did he have to let a powerhouse follow and protect him? Or was it Mingyu? But Mingyu never went back to the Blood Evil Island after that. Things were getting more and more confusing. Bai Qiushue felt Lu Li was hiding more and more secrets. Xiao, after the time it took for 1 incense stick to burn, a scout leader rushed in from the Yu family compound. He knelt on one knee in front of Yu Huashan and said, "Family Patriarch, there is news from the Wuling County." Bai Qiushue and Bai Xiaoshuang's eyes suddenly turned cold. Bai Shi and the others' aura suddenly rose. Everyone in the Yu family acted as if they were facing a formidable enemy. The atmosphere in the city became even more oppressive, as if a war would break out at any moment. Yu Huashan gritted his teeth and said, "Speak. Lu Li is fine." As soon as the scout leader finished his words, the atmosphere in the square suddenly eased down. Everyone in the Yu family was relieved. But what the scout leader said next made all the patriarchs of the Yu family furious. The scout leader said, "But all our family members over there are dead. Yu Yang, the other 4 warriors of the Fate Wheel Realm, and many warriors of the Soul Pond Realm were killed. Right now, Lu Li and Hunchback Tian are washing the Wuling County with blood. What? The plaza was in an uproar. Many people were discussing. Just a moment ago, many people were hoping that Lu Li would not die. Now, many people were hoping that Lu Li could be hacked into pieces. Zilian was surprised. Soon, she put on a bitter smile. Lu Li was really a troublemaker. He would not stop until he made some trouble. Bai Qiuxue and Bai Xiaoshuang looked at each other. They were relieved. How could the scout of the Yu family spread the news at this moment? So it seemed that Lu Li was still alive, killing 5 warriors of the Fate Wheel realm of the Yu family. The figure of the mysterious, powerful warrior came to their minds. As far as they could see, it was impossible for Lu Li and Hunchback Tian to kill him. The mysterious, powerful warrior had to do it. Bai Shi and the others frowned in silence. They were wondering who the mysterious, powerful warrior following Lu Li was. The Thousand Island Lake was the territory of the Bai family. Everything was under the control of the Bai family. The appearance of an unknown, powerful warrior upset Bai Shi and the others. Yu Huaxin's cold shout attracted everyone's attention. He asked, "Who killed Yu Yang and the others? Can the scouts find out where this person is?" The scout leader said with hesitation, "According to the information, Yu Bu and Yu Qi were killed at the Delong tribe. Their fate wheels were destroyed, and their heads were smashed. It is not clear who killed them. But there is news that it is very likely that they were killed by Lu Li, because the two of them died in the same way as Yu Yang. Yu Yang could be sure that Lu Li killed them. Many people in the city saw it. Lu Li destroyed Yu Yang's fate wheel and killed him." "Shut up." Yu Huaxin's angry voice came out. He didn't believe this fallacy at all. Voices of doubt came out in the city as well. Zilian, Bai Qiuxue, Bai Xiaoshuang, and Bai Shi were stunned. Then they shook their heads. Nobody believed this. Lu Li killed Yu Yang, who was at the peak of the Fate Wheel realm. This was not a joke. If any warrior of the Spirit Sea realm could kill warriors at the peak of the Fate Wheel realm, then the northern desert would be in chaos. Realms of Wu Dao would be redefined. It was too difficult to kill warriors of higher realms at the northern desert, let alone 2 realms. This was impossible. Not a single person in the crowd could believe this result. Not even Autumn Snow and the rest could believe it. Only one person here believed it, Lu Yi. Lu Yi had witnessed Lu Li's growth and was shocked by the miracles he created time and time again. She would believe it even if Lu Li killed warriors of the Eternal Realm, let alone several warriors of the Fate Wheel realm. Lu Li's growth was so fast that Lu Yi had developed a kind of blind faith in him. Therefore, she said to Bai Qiuxue in a low voice, "Lady Qiuxue, let's go and find our island owner." Bai Qiuxue thought about it. Things had come to this. There would be no way to clean up the mess if it went on like this. What were they here for? To help Lu Li. Of course, Bai Shi and the others also came with the intention of getting back at the Yu family. After all, the Yu family was indirectly retaliating against the Bai family by targeting Lu Li. Now that they had achieved their goal, the Yu family wouldn't do anything. Bai Shi and the others had disgraced Yu Huaxin. Bai Qiuxue looked to Bai Shi, who nodded. Bai Qiuxue looked to Zilian and said, "Lady Lian, since Lu Li is making a scene over there, we cannot sit back and do nothing. I will go and stop him now. Take him back and teach him a lesson. Family leader Yu, please forgive me for my rudeness. Goodbye." Zilian bowed and said goodbye with a smile. She was relieved. Yu Huaxin and the other warriors of the Yu family said nothing with a cold face. While they were relieved, they were also angry. The Yu family had been disgraced. When the news spread across the northern desert, the Yu family would become a laughingstock again. But what could they do? Yu Huaxin was not sure that he could defeat Bai Shi. Even if he could, so what? Yu Lingxiu was in the wrong for what happened at the tomb of Dragon King. If he dared to make a move, the old man of Heaven Prison would go to the Yu Emperor City right away. Whoosh! That you're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.